What is good, everybody? Tonight we are doing another start sit stream, helping you guys win your week 9 matchups. It's absolutely going to be incredible. I hope you had a great week, and we're going to get it started. And we got a bunch of questions starting to pile up into the chat. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. Best free way to support the channel, but let us get it going with the music. Shout out to Element for providing this for the stream. And we started off with Tommy G coming in. Hey, what's up, Caleb? How's it going? Anyways, you got 2 questions. So Puka or Nico rest of season? Tommy G, that's a great question. I think honestly, we got Puka Nacua, who came out, and he's a little bit dinged up here right now. So if we're looking at it, I personally want to go with Nico rest of season over Puka. Now, the question is, can we wait another week or two? When is Nico Collins going to come back? We put out a rest of season rankings video today. A lot of people didn't love where we had Nico or Puka ranked, but personally, I do lean the Nico side rest of season there, Tommy. And then I personally, when we're looking at the Kyler versus Tua, I do have Kyler as a top 10 QB play this week. And then if we're looking at where I have Tua, I have him as my QB 16 this week. So a little bit lower for Tua going up against the Buffalo defense. I prefer Kyler Murray. Tommy, appreciate you being here. And then PRF here with a question. I love you, PRF. Appreciate you tuning in. You said, what trade value should I trade Jonathan Taylor for? You're not starting him because you have Jahmyr Gibbs and Kenneth Walker. Then Malik Neighbors is in my flex. Well, you, PRF, the fact that you're not starting Jonathan Taylor, I think that's probably fair. You must have an absolutely loaded roster over there, PRF. But if you can trade Jonathan Taylor, I don't know what you're kind of needing on your team, but like hypothetically, could you flip him if you need a tight end? Could you flip him for Brock Bowers? Would be an interesting one. If you need some receiver help, could you flip Jonathan Taylor for a Nico Collins, for a Puka, for a Scary Terry? Kind of depends. If you need a tier up at a position, maybe tier up with one of your weaker starters, Jonathan Taylor, to go get like a Saquon or something like that. I think PRF, you got a bunch of different things as options. But the fact, like, send over your team and maybe I'll give you a few better suggestions than what I kind of did. But that's kind of off the cuff there, PRF. Eddie said, Eddie, good to see you, dude. You said, hey, Caleb, would you start Josh Jacobs or Chase Brown this week? Always appreciate the help. Dude, I always appreciate you tuning in here, Eddie. It's always a pleasure having you here. Now, I do have Chase Brown as a top 18 running back this week, and Josh Jacobs definitely down versus Detroit. I still lean Josh Jacobs, but I have them two spots apart, Eddie. So depending on how you want to do your team and if you're leaning one way or another, I think it's close enough in my rankings that I would just go with your gut there, Eddie. But I do have them close enough, and if I had to choose, I'd probably lean Josh Jacobs, but it's very, very close. Shout out PV&J. Hey, he made a live one. Appreciate you, PV&J. Shout out to you. We'll give you a little DJ air horn, bro. Thanks for tuning in. PR said, yo, what do you think my weakest spot is? Oh, and this is the team. Is this the team where we got Jonathan Taylor on the bench? You already got Brock Bowers, so PRF, that was irrelevant to you. So let's look at your team really quick. You got Jalen Hurts, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, Malik. Dude, what type of... It's a 12-man league? Bro, PRF, you've been absolutely grinding the trades. You've had to be. I think could we go get CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson? I think that's really the only question. So if you could attach Jonathan Taylor, I don't know if you have another like decent wide receiver or something, because Malik Neighbors and Jonathan Taylor for Justin Jefferson, that's ridiculous. I'm probably just holding that. But if you want to get some more wide receiver depth, if that's something that you want to do, I'm also cool, PRF, just to hold Jonathan Taylor. We've seen so many injuries happening recently that you have an elite level team, bro. Your record's elite, that you can just potentially hold that. Football Prods, appreciate you being here. You said Football Prods. Love the graphic. You said Tucker Craft or Hunter Henry this week. Appreciate you tuning in the channel. And as we know, the tight end landscape's been absolutely dire. It's been terrible. I still lean Tucker Craft, though. This week I have Tucker Craft as a top 12 tight end. Hunter Henry's a little bit lower for me versus Tennessee this week. I have him as my tight end 16. So, 4 spots apart? I lean Tucker Craft, though, but Football Prods, I've been historically bad this season at my tight end rankings. I think everybody has. I think if you drafted elite level tight end, it hasn't worked out for you as well this year. And then if you're streaming tight end, you're kind of looking at the right players to play. So it's a little bit up and down there, Football Prods, but I appreciate you tuning in. And I would go with Tucker Craft. And Savvy, appreciate you for being here. You said start 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. You got Downs, Marvin Harrison Jr., BTJ, Jacobs, Madison, and Myers. And Savvy, you got a great team this week, bro. So hopefully I can help you out here with what we're looking at. So if we're looking at our first player, I think you go with Josh Jacobs first. that would be the first player that I would stream out of all of these. So then it's going to be leaning, can we get one of those wide receivers? So it's really between Josh Downs and Marvin Harrison Jr., and I personally lean Josh Downs. So I would go Jacobs and Josh Downs. Now, the question is for you, N Savvy, is Josh Jacobs, the upside just hasn't always been there the last few weeks. I mean, last week versus Jacksonville, we saw an absolute explosion. It's kind of started to ramp up here the second part of the season. So N Savvy, if you wanted to debate maybe putting, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Downs over Jacobs, I would understand, but I do think you have to be locked and loaded with Jacobs and Downs in my personal opinion. And Savvy, appreciate you being here. Senior Rojo, shout out to you being here. You said, what's up, Caleb? Need a tight end, Kittle and buy. Who do I drop? PPR, Braylon, Benson, Quorum, Jalen Wright, Vidal, Jennings, Tillman. Thanks, bro. Of course, Senior. Appreciate you being here. If you had to drop one of these, you got a lot of good options here. I wouldn't drop Braylon Allen. I'm probably holding on to Benson. Like I said, all of these, it's hard because we don't know if any of these guys are going to get injured and absolutely get thrust into play. I think right now with Raheem Mostert back, I do think Jalen Wright is the one here where I feel like even if there was an injury to A-Chain or to Raheem Mostert, like his value goes up, but it doesn't go as high as some of the other guys. So personally for me there, Senior, I would personally be going with Jalen Wright being the one to be dropped for a tight end. Appreciate you tuning in. Adam, good to see you. You said, would you trade Amon-Ra, Pollard, and Kincaid for Kyron and Devontae Smith? Yes. Give me Kyron and give me Devontae Smith. You're getting the better. I like Kyron over Amon-Ra rest of the season than I do like Devontae Smith over Pollard and Kincaid, assuming you don't need tight end help, or at this point we can kind of stream that type of production there for you, Adam. So give me the Kyron and Devontae Smith side. Appreciate you tuning in. Tricks, good to see you, dude. You're Adam, also start Murray or Love or pick up Winston. Adam, good questions, my guy. Got some good questions today. So really, I'm still going to be leaning here. Let me pull up the rankings to just double check. Yeah, we will be leaning with Kyler Murray. I have Jordan Love a little bit lower in this matchup versus Detroit. I have him as my QB 16 this week. I have Murray like as a top 10 play. And then Winston, just so everyone knows, I probably need to I have him as my QB 19. I feel like once we get past like the top 5 QBs, some of it's matchup based, some of it's like recent performance kind of all goes into my rankings there, Adam. But I personally go with Murray. Eddie, of course, bro. Appreciate you always tuning in. You said thoughts on trading B-Rob for Tracy. You have JT and just a bunch of handcuffs. Just seems like B-Rob has been hurt or limited lately. Other option would be Pitts for Tracy and stream tight end. Yeah, you're bringing up some. I think the Pitts idea is probably the one that I lean with, just because of how we've seen the tight end position over this whole season, essentially. I mean, Pitts has started to get, last week it's hard to trade him after that 23-point performance, but I do think Tracy's going to just continue to take more and more of that role. So I'm cool. I don't want to trade B-Rob yet, just because we've seen how dynamic Jaden Daniels in this Commander's offense has been. So personally for me, I will be trading the Pitts for Tracy and then just kind of streaming tight end. Eddie, let me know what's out there on waivers, and this might help make my decision a little bit easier too. Leo, good to see you. You said, who should I start at flex? Full PPR. Douglas, Bucky Irving, or Michael Wilson this week? Yeah, we're in a little bit of a pickle here where we don't have like a clear level answer. I think we're going to have to go Bucky Irving over Michael Wilson. I think Michael Wilson, it's like kind of touchdown or bust, a lot more upside, but Bucky Irving I do have as my RB29 this week. Now, we got to monitor it because I didn't see a practice report today officially. I know he didn't practice on Thursday. So that's one that we do have to monitor there, Leo. But assuming Bucky Irving plays, I do want to play Bucky there, Leo. And shout out to Tyler. Tyler, thank you so much for the super chat, bro. Thanks for the $2. Always appreciate you tuning into the channel. Appreciate it. You said Tyrone Tracy, Reed, or Coolin, Love, questionable. Bro, appreciate you being here. So yeah, so let's go. We're gonna dive into this a little bit deeper. Like I said, Tyler, appreciate the super chat. Like I said, guys, if you guys want to skip to the front of the line, hit that super chat button. It helps me out so much. So where was the practice report for today with Jordan Love? Like I said, since we're doing this on Friday, we still have another day to kind of get some availability. He's still listed as questionable. I assume he plays. He closed the week. He practiced back-to-back on Thursday and Friday, which is always a good sign for Jordan Love. So Jordan Love's going to play. Now, the question, Tyler, is going to be that overall mobility for Jordan Love. But you're not asking me if I need to start Jordan Love. You're asking me, hey, Tyrone Tracy, Reed, with Love questionable. I don't know, Tyler. Who is this last player? I know you said, or Coolin. Are we talking about Jalen Cooker or Tyler? Let me know as I answer this. But I'm just going to go through Tyrone Tracy and Reed, because I think those are the two ones that I'm considering here. I personally go with Reed. Now, that feels ballsy after what we've seen Tyrone Tracy do the last few weeks. I definitely have pushed Tyrone Tracy up my rankings. He's a top 24 running back. He cleared concussion protocol. A lot of things we like to see happen, especially after we saw him just put up that 22-point game versus Pittsburgh. Feels great. But I think you got to go Reed. And it's an upside shot, Tyler, that I always don't love telling people to do, because you're a little bit worried. And I've been higher on Reed over these last few weeks. I've pushed him down my rankings a little bit this week, Tyler. I have him as my wide receiver 20, which in past weeks I've had him wide receiver 13, wide receiver 14. So personally, I go with Jaden Reed still over Tyrone Tracy. But you let me know what. Oh, you said Coleman, bro. Got it. You sending over another $2, bro. You're an absolute legend. I was looking at the chat, so you didn't have to do that, bro. But I appreciate the $4. Yeah, I'm still playing Jaden Reed over Coleman, which is awesome, bro. So Tyler, appreciate you so much. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. I will be going with Jaden Reed with your start sit question, bro. Absolutely appreciate all the love and support. And if you guys haven't already, hit that like button. Best free way to support the channel. Now, Buddy comes in and he says Marvin Harrison Jr. or Tyrone Tracy this week. I am again going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. over Tyrone Tracy. Main reason I'm doing that, I liked what I saw from Marvin Harrison Jr. last week. I think it's hard to bench that. But I'll give you an example. I have right now in my flex rankings, Buddy, just so you know, I have Marvin Harrison Jr. sliding in as my overall player 36. And I do have Tyrone Tracy right now sliding in as my overall player 49. So it's a few spots apart, but I still lean the Marvin Harrison Jr. Buddy over Tyrone Tracy. Appreciate you being here. Jacob said Waddle or Reed rest of season. Jacob. This is a good question. So I understand why you asked. I'm still leaning Jaden Reed. I think my love for Jaden Reed is there. And if we're talking about it from I've pushed Jaden Reed. He was my wide receiver. I had him all the way up at wide receiver 12, maybe a week ago. And he's gone all the way down to wide receiver 16. So this is me even saying that Jaden Reed has gotten pushed down my overall rankings. I just think when you're looking at him versus Jalen Waddle, I still have Jalen Waddle, just so we're all aware, as sliding the rest of the season as my wide receiver 23. So it's not a ridiculous gap. We're talking about 4 spots, especially with Tua coming back. I'm assuming that that's going to help Jalen Waddle. But even when Tua the first week, it was okay. I'm just a little bit worried about Jalen Waddle still rest of season on a fantasy point per game basis there, Jacob. So like I said, 16 fantasy points in that first game, and then I know Tua got hurt, and so it's been lower since. So I need to see it. But even last week, for her first week with Tua back with only 8, I am worried about Jalen Waddle. I'm not worried about Tyreek Hill. I'm not worried about Devon, but I am worried a little bit about Jalen Waddle. I'd prefer Jaden Reed. AT said, with Higgins out, who do I play? Chubb, Worthy, Coleman, or D-Hop? AT, you're in a little bit of a pickle here, buddy. And I agree with that. So that's where I got Worthy. I think it's going to be between Chubb and DeAndre Hopkins for me here, AT. And if I'm gun to my head, I think we got to go Nick Chubb versus the Chargers. We'll take a piece of this Jameis Winston miracle-led offense going forward there, AT. So personally, I go with Chubb. Appreciate you, AT. Shout out to Frizz. Shout out to you being here. What's up? What's up? Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Trix said T out, so the Mud Warriors are back. You know what? It's terrible because I have T Higgins on a lot of my rosters, and it's been frustrating because when he's out there, he's absolutely amazing. I put him in my thumbnail today as the picture, not because I have him higher in my rest of season rankings, of course, but it is just it is depressing, their tricks. Ronnie, good to see you. So what's up, Caleb? Thoughts on Goff this weekend? I want to sit him, honestly. Here's who's available. Stafford, Darnold, Winston, Flacco, full PPR. Also Chargers and Bengals defense. Thank you, man. Ronnie, of course, dude. I will be sitting Goff for Sam Darnold. I have Sam Darnold higher in my rankings for this week. He's actually my QB7, so I have him above Darnold. Darnold's my QB10 over all those guys. So I would personally be going with Sam Darnold. In regards to the Chargers defense or the Bengals defense, I'll be going with the Chargers, have them as top 5 defense. Going up against Cleveland, which we also understand, like, I think ranking against the Browns defense is something that going forward I'm going to definitely have to reevaluate and look at. But at this current moment, I do want the Chargers defense going up against the Browns. Over the Bengals against the Raiders, it's also good defense, but I have them currently ranked 4 spots behind in my rankings. But like we said, it's always juicy with defensive rankings. Trix said Noah Brown, Troy Franklin, McMillan, or Tyler Lockett. We are back in the mud. We're going to be going with Tyler Lockett, though, Trix. I think it's hard for me to tell you to start McMillan after what we saw last week, even though I do have Jalen 3 spots behind Tyler Lockett, and then I do have Troy Franklin and Noah Brown behind, even though Noah Brown had that nasty Hail Mary catch. So, Trix, I personally go with Tyler Lockett in your start spot this week. And like I said, Tyler, thanks so much for the super chat, bro. If you're still here, appreciate you. PRF said, what's sad is I was 1-5 and made a few trades. Now I'm 3-5 2-week win streak. I'm playing the best week, and I feel like I have the second best team. You have Chris Olave and Amari Cooper on my bench. That's what we like to see, PRF. Sometimes it's just injuries. Sometimes it's just who you're running into. Like we said, fantasy football, it's definitely a streaky sport. A lot of luck, a little bit of skill, and so definitely trying to help you any way we can, PRF. Of course, in here. Appreciate you. Mr. X Magic CZ HD1 says JSN or Jacoby this week, full PPR. Well, I will say this, Mr. X. JSN as a Buckeye, you can see the 2 jerseys behind me. It's been a little bit depressing this season. And this week I will be personally going with Jacoby. I have him 3 spots ahead in my wide receiver rankings, Mr. Magic. So I will be going with Jacoby Myers. Zoho, good to see you. You said, what's up? Full PPR, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Zay Flowers? Well, we got Deontay Johnson revving up to go this week. That's going to hurt Zay Flowers. Like, there's no ifs and doubts about it. So, personally, for me, I go with Marvin Harrison Jr. over Zay Flowers. Now, I do think with the trade, we'll have to see what the percentage of snap share is going to be for Deontay Johnson in this first week as he gets to know the offense. But even still, I want Marvin Harrison Jr., especially after what he did last week. I think if you own Zay Flowers, like, this is maybe the last week I feel super, super comfortable having him as a high-end wide receiver too. PRF said, autocorrect kills me. I'm playing the best team this week. Oh, I got you. Well, good luck, PRF. Good luck. Swag, good to see you. You said, what do you think I could get by packaging Deontay and Ramondre together? Okay. What could we get? If we're packaging the 2 of them, doing a 2-for-1, especially at this point in the season, can always be a little bit difficult there, Swag. But like I said, Deontay's gotten pushed down my rankings. So if you package both of them together, like, could we get into like a Debo, a Tony Pollard, a DeAndre Swift? I think that's kind of the range. Maybe a DK Metcalf. Like, if you're trying to tier up, like, those would be the guys. I don't know if we can, if you offer, like, you're probably not going to be able to get into like the Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave tier. That's a little bit above for me. So those would be some guys that I would be targeting there. Swa, appreciate ya. The last Gremlin said, hey, how's it going, man? Dude, doing great. It's Friday night. Absolutely pumped to be hanging out with all of you. You said, I started Garrett Wilson over DJ Moore and got 30 points. The OBJ touchdown, that was nasty. Absolutely nasty. You guys see the jersey behind me. Big Garrett Wilson believer, and so love to see it. And you said, so I dropped Tank Bigsby for Tyrone Tracy. Was that okay? Yeah, that's 100% okay. I think after the last few weeks, that's 100% okay. So I think that's a major dub for you, the last Gremlin. Eddie said, Hunter Henry's on waivers, and dude also has Otten. Could be Pitts for Otten and Tracy if he bites. Yeah, I honestly have that so close in my rest of season rankings there, Eddie, that I'm 100% cool to do Pitts for Tracy and Otten if you can get that done. You said, the last Grumman said, also picked up Chris Olave for free for the Seahawks defense. He was available. I can't believe Chris Olave was free. I mean, he's a top 15 wide receiver for me rest of the season, the last Gremlin. So that's a major dub for you. PB&J said flexing Tracy, Coleman, Myers, or White this week. PB&J, assuming that we get, I would monitor Tracy tomorrow. I know he cleared the concussion protocol, but just monitor Twitter to make sure that he's going to be playing and be fully healthy. I want to go with Tracy, but if Tracy can't go, then PB&J, I do want to go with Myers. Appreciate you, PB&J. X4 Burns said, do I flex JSN, Cedric Tillman, or Mostert? X4 Burns, I will be going with Cedric Tillman this week. Absolutely a great matchup there. Mostert, we're worried. I know we saw the touchdown last week, but I feel like it's touchdown or bust for Mostert, which going forward, we saw that last year. Mostert was, a high-level running back for fantasy football purposes because of that touchdown upside, and that might come back. That might be his role on this team. With Tua, they can be a little bit more efficient, so definitely love that you do have Mostert, but I want to go with Tillman over JSN this week for me personally. And shout out to Eddie coming in with the 5, bro. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. You said your team's Hurts, JT, B-Rob, CD, Tillman, Coleman, Pitts, bench. You got Juju, Ricky, Wright, Benson, Quorum, Jay Brooks, Ford. You're 5-3 in the standard league. Any other moves? Yeah, so the thing that I love about your team, Eddie, in a standard league is that we haven't relied heavily on wide receivers. You don't have, as much as we look at your wide receiver core and you're like, man, like he only has CD and Tillman emerging. I'm glad that you got Tillman, but I love the absolute depth that we have at running back between JT, B-Rob, and a bunch of different options on the bench. So I think the big thing is we're going to have to really take into consideration some of your moves for running backs because we know that they are going to be the highest scorer. We're really banking on hopefully Brooks coming back, being able to provide a spark because with Ford now backing up Nick Chubb, with Benson, Wright, Corm, I'm glad we have a bunch of stashes, especially in a standard league, Eddie. I think the only worry that I would have, and I know you're trying to get off Pitts and potentially stream. I like that idea, especially in a standard league. I think the worry is do we have enough legit options at running back if injuries were to occur to us? But that's part of the game in a standard league, and that's part of the game that we play in just fantasy football in general. So I like your overall build, especially if you can do that one trade we were just talking about, Eddie. So appreciate you so much, dude. Thanks so much for the 5. You're an absolute legend, my guy. And we got the next question. We got AT coming in. Like I said, Tyler, thanks so much for the super chat too. You guys have been so generous tonight. I appreciate that. And you said I traded Lamb and Dell for Gibbs. Was this good for me? Traded Lamb and Dell for Gibbs. Ooh, was this good for me? Roster after trade, Dak, Cup, Prescott, Cup, Higgins, Gibbs, Achane, McBride, Chuba, Bench, Chubb, Singletary, Worthy, D-Hop, Coleman, Thielen, non-PPR. I think, so we're assuming Tank Dell was kind of a bench stash for you anyway, AT. I don't know. You said this is non-PPR. So a non-PPR, of course, if this is standard, like we said, the running backs always get the advantage. So I do think you made a good move with your team. We got upside at wide receiver, even in a standard league. So I do feel good about this. Like I said, if this was PPR, of course, I'm not doing this. But since this is standard AT, I do like this deal for you a lot. Ron Lever said, Knicks, Caleb, Cousins, or Geno. Ron Lever, I will be personally going with Kirko Change, Coles, Cash, Kirk this week. So go with Cousins, fire him up, have him as a top 8 QB this week. Amster23, appreciate you tuning in. You said need 3 PPR, Dobbins, Chase Brown, or Tracy. You need 3? Wait, whoa, bro. You gave me 3 options. Who am I, bro? You only need 2? Because you provided me 3? Because if you need 3, I'm starting all 3. I'm assuming you need 2, and that's the question you're asking here, Amster23. I will be going with Chase Brown and Dobbins. I do have them higher than Tracy, assuming Tracy's healthy. But if you do need 3 and there was like a 4th player you didn't type out, let me know and I'll help answer that. But I would go with Chase Brown and Dobbins if you only need 2. Janesh, good to see you, my dude. You said you think Coker worth rostering over Charber or Dunze. I have a feeling you might have a boom game this week, similar to Tillman last week. You know what? Coker has been an interesting one for the Carolina Panthers, and the breakout, everything's looking very interesting. I think you have to be debating him. I would say over Charb for sure. I think Odunze is an interesting one because we have seen the flashes from Odunze. So if you want to risk it for the biscuit there, Janesh, I have them all. Like I said, I think they're all end of the roster candidates anyway. So I'm cool to roster Coker because we do want the ultimate level upside, and that's what Jalen's been showing here recently. Appreciate you, Janesh. The last gremlin said, dude, is it worth dropping either Jake Ferguson or TJ Hawkinson for K. Dotton? Yes. Personally, for me, I'd probably do Jake Ferguson for K-Dot, and then just see what TJ Hawkins will be once he comes back. X4 said, yeah, I drop Ferguson. Cool, X4. Like that for you. Get real. Shout out to you for absolutely getting real. You know, I always love seeing some of your guys' names, and I'm trying to see what is that a turtle? Shout out to the turtle for making it. You said, I just traded Neighbors, Brian Robinson, and Dubs for Saquon and Downs. What do you think? I just traded Neighbors, Brian Robinson, and Dubs for... Yep, I like this. So the main reason I was thinking about it, I was trying to put together all the different values in my head. Main thing is Saquon, of course, is the best player. So Neighbors and Dubs for Saquon's probably fair. Then it's Brian Robinson or Josh Downs. And especially with Joe Flacco under center, that's only going to benefit a guy like Josh Downs. So give me the Saquon and Josh Downs side over the Neighbors, Brian Robinson, and Dubs side. So thanks so much, Get Real. Thanks for tuning in to the channel. We got the dude 253 said Mostert or Bucky Irving as my second flex. Ooh, the dude, and I don't know if you were in here when we were talking earlier. We had someone else ask about Raheem Mostert. I feel like I'm a little bit lower on Raheem Mostert this week, not because I don't believe in the dude, because we saw last year, we talked about the ultimate level touchdown upside, and like literally last week, he got 2 total touchdowns. But really, the 2 total touchdowns was the only thing that kept him from having a decent fantasy football day. So I personally lean Bucky just because I think he's going to get more work, going to be a little bit more of a higher scoring game according to Vegas, but Mostert, I'm glad that you have him, because if he ends up being who we thought he was going to be coming into this year based on what he did last year, I think you're going to have 2 really good options. But personally for me this week, if I was you, I'm starting Bucky Irving over Mostert. So the dude 253, appreciate you tuning in. And we got Mashushi Island. What type of name is that? But you know what the best part about this is that you got a picture of the island. Looks absolutely beautiful, bro. So hopefully that's where you live. Hopefully it's going good. And you said, yo, should I trade Tank Dell for Pollard? Yes, give me Pollard. Tank Dell, the worry that I have with Tank Dell, it's looked good. I've loved it because I traded like an idiot. Like week 1, PB&J's in here in our subscriber league. This is how much of a Tank Dell truther I was. I traded, and this is before, I traded Tank Dell for Terry McLaurin. I look like an absolute buffoon in the subscriber league. And so, listen, I love Tank Dell as much as the next guy, but I personally would be going Pollard, especially with Nico Collins coming back. Noah said London for Nico. London is my flex, but I have HN as well if Nico does not work out. Yeah, Noah, I know in my rankings today, I made the rankings a few days ago. I think the risk is worth the reward, especially considering the fact that Nico is still like the wide receiver 14 and he's missed 3 straight weeks. So go with Nico over London. It is a high risky shot. I mean, I think you could hold Drake and understand it. The upside's just not going to be as close to Nico, but with your team and how you have it built, go with the ultimate upside shot on a Nico Collins. Jace Mells, appreciate you being here. You said, should I trade Metcalf and Brooks for London and Connor? I feel like I made it more solid. Yes, 100%. If you can get London and Connor for Metcalf and Brooks, 100%. Is it James Conner? Is that who we're talking about? Drake London and James Conner for Brooks and Metcalf. That feels like you're messing with me, Jace Mells. But if you can do that, 100%, give me the London and Connor side there. And we got Tricks coming in and says Chargers or Eagles defense. I know, Tricks, I always appreciate that you bring the questions for the defenses. This week I will be going with the Chargers defense over the Eagles defense. Tricks, I don't know how I've been doing on your defensive selections. I know you're like one of the only ones to ask consistently on the defense. I don't know how I'm faring out this year, if I've been super wrong. Trick said maybe this Geno and Tyler stat can save the day. Shout out to a little bit of Geno Smith going forward. So we'll see. And shout out to Element. We're getting that music started again. Janesh said, what do you think Tillman plus Bucky or Tillman plus Odunze gets me for a running back? Well, I think the thing, Janesh, what's going to happen is if Tillman has another day, he's just going to go shooting up everybody's rest of season rankings. So hypothetically, you could trade now, probably get decent value, or you wait another week and you potentially get even more, which is always the case. But you're always worried a little bit with injuries and stuff like that. But if we're looking, let's just say we're doing Tillman plus Bucky to get up. So right now in my rest of season rankings, I do have Bucky Irving sliding in as my RB27. So if you touch Tillman, potentially we could get up into maybe like a David Montgomery, Brian Robinson, James Conner range. Now, if Tillman goes off this week and looks like an absolute league winner, you potentially could get into like a Jonathan Taylor CMC level running back. So it just kind of depends on how good Tillman looks this week, because if Tillman looks like the next big wide receiver, you might be selling short at this current moment, but I also understand the risk versus reward that you're potentially doing by just waiting versus going for it right now, Janesh. So appreciate you. Champagne7 said Cooper or Flowers rest of season. I will go with Amari Cooper over Zay Flowers rest of season. And then you said DJ Moore or Pickens rest of season. I am still going with DJ Moore Champagne, but I know I think you've asked this DJ Moore versus Pickens. If you want to know how close it is, they are 2 spots apart right now. So like if you lean one way or another, I don't think I will debate you on that. I think you got a pretty good thing set up there. Fletcher Cox, like I said, dude, absolute legend for the Philadelphia Eagles. Just continues to tune into the channel week after week to help me beat his probably ex-teammates. Fletcher Cox said, trade Pickens for Ridley and Bucky. I'm cool to do that deal. I think you're getting 2... I don't value Pickens as an elite level asset, but I think you're getting 2 guys at the back end of the same tier that are going to help provide some depth for your team there, Fletcher. So I'm cool to do that deal. And we got Froggy Man in the building. You said, should I do Kenneth Walker and Pickens for Nico Collins? You have running backs to spare because you have Mixon, Gibbs, Aaron Jones, and K9. Well, Froggy, I feel like you're giving up a lot here. I'm not going to lie. To get Nico Collins. I feel like if you're going to attach Pickens, hear me out. I think you should only do Kenneth Walker for Nico straight up. I think if you're going to add it on Pickens, you need to attach Aaron Jones. Like I would much prefer to do Aaron Jones and Pickens for Nico Collins if I'm giving up 2 pieces. But if he's demanding, Kenneth Walker, then he's just getting Kenneth Walker straight up for Nico Collins because they are very closely valued in rest of season rankings, Froggy. So that's what I would do. And then Eddie, of course, bro. Appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for the 5 in the super chat. XXX said Jalen Waddle or Tillman this week. And this comes back to, is Tillman going to be an absolute hero? I still go with Jalen Waddle this week in my rankings, XXX, but like we said, I think the sample size for Tillman just continues to go up, which could be super exciting going forward. So I lean Jalen Waddle this week, but it is close enough that if you do want to go with Cedric Tillman, I wouldn't hate you. And then Scrippy says, pick 2. Adam, I'll get to your question in a second. You said pick 2 starters this week. Reed, Downs, Bucky, Cedric Tillman. Scrippy, I will be going with Jaden Reed and Josh Downs here as my 2 options. Appreciate you, Scrippy. Adam said, another question. Would you trade away Amon-Ra and Pollard for Kamara and Olave? I personally wouldn't. I want the Amon-Ra and Pollard side. I think it's a fair deal, though, Adam. I just personally like your side a little bit better. And if you guys are new to the channel, appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. We're answering everybody's start-sit questions this season. So I want you guys here in the community. Also, just so everyone's aware, we are on the way to 4,000 subscribers, almost there. So any subscribe helps the channel as well. So I appreciate you guys. Best free way to support the channel is to like as well. The Last Gremlin, appreciate you. You said Derek Carr is expected to play week 9 against the Panthers as well. So with Chris Olave, I think I'm set. My opponent has Caleb Williams, Alvin Kamara, Justice Hill, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, Sam Laporta, Demarcus Robinson, and Chiefs D. Perfect. The Last Gremlin. Yeah, I like that. I like Chris Olave this week a lot. So I think you're in a good spot, the Last Gremlin. PRF said start 1. Chris Olave, Malik Neighbors, Jonathan Taylor. PRF, I always forget how loaded your team is. Like, you just asked me about your team, and I'm like, crap, man, that is juicy. That is a juicy team. But I'm personally going with Malik Neighbors over Jonathan Taylor this week. So I lean Malik Neighbors there, PRF. Abreu said, full PPR, pick 1 running back. Pollard, Chuba, or White. Will not be going with White. So it's down to Pollard versus Chuba Hubbard. And Pollard really did let a lot of us down last week. So I understand the feeling of not liking going back to the well. But Chuba Hubbard also let us down. I have Tony Pollard, just so we're aware, as my RB18. And then I have Chuba Hubbard as my RB22. So personally, I go with the Tony Pollard side over Chuba Hubbard. Abreu, thank you so much for tuning in. And we got Janesh said, Joe Shiesty or Stafford this week? Ooh, Janesh, you're asking a Bengals fan if he should pick against Joe Burrow or Matty Boy Stafford. Whew. I lean Joe Burrow, though. It's a top 5 matchup for me versus Vegas. Come on. My Jamar Chase shares need it. I don't have Joe Burrow in a lot of leagues, but we're wishing him the best. And he said, Higgins looking like he might not play. Puka looking like he will play. Yeah, I have Matthew Stafford as a top 12 QB this week, but I do go with Joe Shiesty there. Janesh Joshua, appreciate you tuning in. He said I'm 6-2 first place. Shout out to you. We'll give you a little DJ air horn there. In a 14-man league, here's my lineup this week. 9, you got Josh Allen, James Cook, Devon, Terry, Jacoby Myers, Tucker Kraft, Tyron Tracy, Chargers defense. Boom. I don't know if there was a question that was supposed to come after that there, Joshua. You said, I'm benching DJ Moore the last 2 weeks. Hey, I think it's hard to... I think the Tyrone Tracy versus DJ Moore, I personally have DJ Moore ahead of Jacoby Myers, Joshua, so I understand. But sometimes you just got to send your guys to the bench. They need a little bit of coaching. So I think you're in a good spot there, Joshua. Thanks for tuning in. Car Chisel said, start Love if you play, or should I pivot to Darnold or maybe Stafford? I think I'm going to be starting Darnold over Jordan Love this week. Anyway, Car Chisel, so I'm cool to go with Darnold. And then you said Andrews or Hawkinson. I lean Andrews this week, but ever so slightly. We got Mark Andrews as our tight end 12, and then we have TJ Hawkinson as our tight end 15. So, like I said, the tight end landscape, Car Chisel, I haven't been super confident in this year, but personally, I'd go with Andrews over Hawkinson, and then Darnold would be the QB for me. MH, thanks for tuning in. You said full PPR, start Tyrone Tracy or Wan'Dale Robinson. MH, I will be starting Tyrone Tracy over Wan'Dale Robinson. Appreciate you. And then Jay Smell says, should I trade Metcalf and Brooks for Mooney and Connors? I was about to say, bro. I was like, that's a ridiculous trade there, Smells. Give me Mooney and Connors. I think the value on that side is going to help you more. The hit or miss of Metcalf, and then Brooks could be a league winner, Jay Smells. So you could be leaning the Metcalf and Brooks side, but I want the Mooney and Connors side there personally. Appreciate to the dude 253. Appreciate you being here. And he said, here's my team. I feel like I can sacrifice Metcalf for another solid run. Thoughts on what to do? To work on. Yeah. I would personally do the deal. I think you got enough good wide receivers that if we could get, like we said, a little bit more help at the running back position, getting Connors next to Hall and Achane with Pollard, yeah, you're going to be in a really great spot there, Smells. Frizz says, should I trade away Flowers and Bigsby for James Conner? Yes, Frizz, I would do that. As much as like I talked a little bit earlier, like there is the risk with James Conner. Dude, I think the highest amount of games he's ever played is 15. Typically plays around 13. So there has been injury prone in recent history. 29-year-old running back, you assume as he gets older, but he's been super healthy this season. So Frizz, personally, I want the high end upside of a guy like James Conner there. I would lean with James Conner. Joshua said, I'm benching DJ Moore last 2 weeks. Josh, yeah. I would do that with your team. And then Brendan said, my man, Caleb. Brendan, bro. Good to see you, bro. You in the gym? You lifting that iron, bro? Been busy, but had to tap in with you tonight, bro. Brandon, I appreciate you, bro. You're an OG, and I always appreciate seeing you. Froggy said, for Kenneth Walker and Pickens for Nico, someone else said I should give Mixon. No, bro. Keep Mixon over Kenneth Walker. But personally don't want to give him away. Do you think the person I'm trading with will accept which one? I think he'll do the Kenneth Walker one for sure. And I would just tell him no to the Joe Mixon. And honestly, I think you should only have to give up Kenneth Walker for Nico Collins straight up. I don't think you should have to add George Pickens there. PB&J said, you know how much I like Tank. Want to trade him to me? Hey, PB&J, I'll give him back to you if you give me back Scary Terry, you know? Sometimes we just gotta do what we gotta do. Brendan, you think Love plays this week? He's had 2 full practices. I don't know how mobile he's going to be. If he's going to, he's never like been the most elusive level quarterback anyway, Brendan, but I do think he does play this week. And then you said trying to gauge Jaden Reed's PPR value this week. I have him as a top 20 wide receiver, Brendan, so you're playing him. Frizz says, Zay Flowers or Devontae Smith for Nico. Frizz, give me the Nico side there. Joshua said, hope Cowboys defense can stop Kirk Cousins, and I don't think they will. I have Kirk Cousins. He's going to be balling this week. That's all I know. So I like I said, I have Kirko Cousins as a top 7 QB this week. So I don't think they're going to be stopping him. And that would not make Element happy at all. And then Trick said, haven't gotten a bad defensive pick from you yet. That's what I love to hear. Like I said, I know you're like one of the only ones that ask any like legit defensive questions. So I just kind of try to always maintain. I am K9 said, what's up, my dude? Hope you had a great week. I did, bro. Good to see you. You said half PPR. Should I flex for Ramondre or Tyrone Tracy? I am K9. Assuming Tyrone Tracy plays, I will be going with Tyrone Tracy over Ramondre. But I'm glad you got both. And then Josh says Tyrone Tracy in my flex. I think it's like the Tyrone Tracy week. Matt Wingo said, is your subscriber league redraft? If so, would you consider a dynasty subscriber league? Matt Wingo, that's a great question. Potentially this offseason, so stay tuned. Yeah, the subscriber league is a redraft league, but we might potentially do a dynasty subscriber league this off season. Tingley said, "What up, Caleb? Start defense. Slim pickings for me because I was late. Got Denver right now. Could stream Titans, Pats, Cardinals, Bears, Rams, Lions, and Falcons." Let me pull up the defensive rankings here really quick for you, Tingley. Yeah, I don't love Denver this week. So you got Titans, Pats. Yeah, I would go Titans. That's the way that I lean. Tingley, I understand versus New England. I think it's just a nasty matchup all around, Tingley, and so I think that's a benefit there for you. And then Andrea, thanks so much for tuning in. What up? Hopefully I can answer your question here tonight. We got Noah said, "Do I start Tyrone Tracy in my RB? Also Brock Bowers or Travis?" Goodness, Noah, what the Noah, bro, you need to trade one of these tight ends if you're going up with these decisions each and every week. But I lean Travis Kelce this week. But of course, I have one as tight end one as tight end two. So you do you if you lean one way or another. But I do Travis Kelce. And then I don't know who your other running back is for running back, but I'm cool to start Tyrone Tracy. And then Noah said, and then you also said Cedric Tillman or Jacoby Myers in the flex. It's a juicy match. It is a juicy matchup for Jacoby Myers. So I think you got to go with Jacoby Myers over Cedric Tillman, but we're talking about a Cedric Tillman who last week popped off. And then the week before had the targets, didn't necessarily have the fantasy football production. I still lean the Jacoby Myers side though, Noah. Appreciate you tuning in. Steven, appreciate you being here. He said, "Hello, are you starting Josh Downs or Rico Dowdle over McConkey? Are you starting Chase Downs or Rico Dowdle over McConkey, Chase Brown, or Josh Jacobs?" Where do I have Chase Brown? Or I think I'm playing Josh Downs over McConkey. Yep, I would go Josh Downs over McConkey. But otherwise, I have Chase Brown and Josh Jacobs ahead of Rico Dowdle. So like that for you, Steven. Anthony says, "I'm here." Bro, we were worried. You know, someone mentioned, Anthony, that you weren't here yet, and they were a little bit worried. Anthony, I am streaming earlier tonight, so no, that hinders. Yeah. Josh said, "I'm playing 3 running backs, Devon, James Cook, and Tyrone Tracy." Boom. Let's get it. We feeling good, Anthony, bro. We're feeling better now that you're here, bro. For sure. For sure. Andrea said, "Brian Robinson Jr. or Chase Brown in half PPR." Yeah. Good question there, Andrea. I lean the Chase Brown side. I know Brian Robinson's definitely down. I know he's battling an injury. He's my RB20 this week. I have Chase Brown as my RB18. Now, we got to, like I said, continue to monitor that hamstring. I know he's questionable for Brian Robinson Jr., but I'm glad you got some depth there, Andrea. But I lean the Chase Brown side. And then Anthony said, 10 points for Brees. I don't know anymore, Caleb. You know what, Anthony? I don't know anymore either. I put out my video today and rest of season rankings, and I know a lot of you guys questioned my ranking of Brees still as a top 5 running back. Well, listen, we recorded this before the game last night. I still put it out today. We're continuing to evaluate Brees Hall's ranking. I'll say that much. But it's close. The last gremlin said, "Anthony, the Texans defense is good on the run. It was unfortunate. On both sides, but Joe Mixon definitely showed a lot, which was exciting." Frizz said, "Xavier Legette or Zay Flowers for flex this week?" I will be going with Zay Flowers. Frizz, I think this is maybe one of the last weeks we'll be able to confidently say Zay Flowers, because going forward, it's going to be hard for him going with Deontay Johnson and Mark Andrews. And the only person the Deontay Johnson trade benefits is Lamar Jackson. And then he said, "I'm liking Legette matchup, especially with Saints missing 2 key players in their secondary." I like it too. IMK9 said, "Anthony's got one of the best end of the schedule, so I'm trying to buy after this week and be set for the playoffs." Boom. Tingley said, "Need a wide receiver 3 PPR and options aren't so hot. Already have Garrett Wilson and Tolbert in. Got Douglas, Elijah Moore, Juju, or pick up a Panthers wide receiver, QJ, D-Raw, Vale, Trey Bunker." Tingley, I'm putting out a stash video tomorrow, but personally, I lean here. I think I'm holding who you have as in your, like, so it's between Elijah Moore and Douglas for me. And I personally lean with Pop Douglas this week over Elijah Moore. But Elijah Moore definitely popped off last week. So, he's stepping into like the 3rd receiving option for the Browns behind Njoku and behind Tillman. And you maybe argue Jerry Jeudy. I mean, I guess it's close between Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore on a week-to-week. So I do lean Pop Douglas. Josh said, "Next week it's Giants against Panthers, Tyrone Tracy Jr. time." Hopefully, yeah, let's hope nothing happens to him this week. Lon says, "No questions, but wanted to say howdy." Lon, as always, bro. Appreciate seeing you, bro. Thanks so much for the support. Brendan said, "I'm playing the number 1 team in my league. Pick 3, full PPR. Chubb, Tillman, Ramondre, Coleman, and Reed." Okay. Brendan, we're going through this. Number one, you will be playing Jaden Reed, and I understand the lack of confidence there, Brendan, but I will be playing Jaden Reed. Now, it's between, the next player will be Chubb for me, and then it's between Tillman and Ramondre, and I lean the Ramondre side. So, what we got? Ramondre, we got Chubb, and then we got Reed. That's who I'm going with, Brendan, if I am you. And then Josh said, I wish Broncos could use Troy Franklin as a wide receiver number one instead of Sutton Corlin. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot that's happening in this Broncos offense with Sean Payton, with Bo Nix as a rookie level quarterback. So I feel you. PR said, would you trade in Malik Neighbors and Jonathan Taylor for Kyren Williams and David Montgomery? Remember that I'm not starting Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, I'm personally just going to be holding that side because I feel like you're getting two more running backs. I know you're not starting Jonathan Taylor at all, but I think Malik Neighbors, like I said, he's a starting level caliber wide receiver. I have him as a top 5 wide receiver rest of season there, PRF. So I lean with the left side over the right side for sure. I would not do that deal. And Slike. I almost said Slikey like a slinky, but it's Slike. What an avatar picture. You said, should I start Javonte Williams, Romeo Doubs, Alexander Madison, or Kyle Pitts as my flex? So it's going to be between Alexander Madison and Javonte Williams. I think I lean Alexander Madison, but double checking the rankings. Yep, I will be going with Alexander Madison. Now, Romeo Doubs is always an interesting one because it's like if he pops off and if he has like a Romeo Doubs type game, you're like, oh, crap. Should have gone with Romeo Doubs, but I have him as my wide receiver 36 this week's like. So I lean with Alexander Madison over Javonte Williams. And you guys just missed it. I almost just clicked end the stream. I did not mean to almost click that button. I was nervous there, so I'm glad I didn't. Brennan said, nah, not lifting tonight. It's you said hit the pool this morning. Ooh, look at this. Michael Phelps, man. Michael Phelps. I said, I'm actually on my way to pick up this shotty for a date. Whoa, look at Brendan making moves. Nothing quite like getting listening to the Caleb Nemi YouTube channel to pump you up before a date. You know what's some advice, Brendan? You know, you're gonna go crush it. Hopefully it's like I don't know if it's a dinner date, if it's just like a coffee date, but bro, you got that swim in. Maybe do a few push-ups before you pick her up. Make sure the blood's flowing and get going from there. Josh said Jordan Love using Tucker Kraft the best pass games. Yeah, we love the Tucker Kraft efficiency that's been happening. Lethal says, kicker strategy this year has been simple. Play anyone named Jake. Moody was good for me till he got hurt, and Bates since then. I finally hit a crossroads this week with Bates or Elliott being 1 and 2. Oh, you're funny, Lethal. You're funny. Or just have Brandon Aubrey. That's also been an elite level strategy. Roy said, start Javonte Williams or Tyrone Tracy. Which defense? Bengals or Titans? So start Javonte or Tyrone Tracy. Roy, I will be going with Tyrone Tracy, but there's a chance like we said, we need to continue to monitor Tyrone Tracy and that concussion, but Tyrone Tracy for me. And then between the Bengals and the Titans, I will be going with the Bengals over the Titans defense there, Roy. And then Matt asked where to sign up for that Dynasty League. Like I said, this will be something that probably gets done. If we do it, we'll probably do like a startup in like March or April of next year, Matt. So just make sure you're tuned in. We'll probably post it as a community post going forward. So that's kind of my idea there. Plus, Matt, there's some like potentially like extra things that are happening next year, which are exciting. PB&J said Bears D is nasty and they're getting 2 starters back. I'm starting them in multiple leagues, even against Kyler. Hey, PB, I hope Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. ball on them because I need it. I need it this week. Josh said I heard rumors about Raiders interested in Fields. Well, that would be huge. They should. The Raiders, anybody can be better than what they currently have happening on their team. XXX said J.K. Dobbins or Lad McConkey in the flex. This XXX, this is actually one where I'm double checking this. J.K. Dobbins for me. I do have Lad 4 spots behind in my flex rankings, assuming it's full PPR. XXX. Noah said that last question was different league. My main team is Lamar, Bijan, Mixon, Achan, CD, Amon-Ra, McBride, and London. No, I forget which trade question it was. Like I said, we rip these questions. You guys all know this. Cedric Tillman or Jacoby Myers in the flex. So Jose is going against me and saying that he would go with Lad over J.K. Dobbins. But Jose, I appreciate you. It's close. It's close. It's very close. Tech Stories said Tyrone Tracy or Khalil Shakir for flex. I lean Tyrone Tracy there, Tech Stories. Trick said, I think Brees will be fine once Adams gets settled. And I hope so. I hope so. A lot of us people are starting to worry about Brees there, Tricks. So we're trying to maintain. I think he's going to be fine. I think a lot of people agree with that. And if you guys haven't already, hit that like button. Best free way to support the channel. It helps me out so much. Appreciate all y'all for tuning in tonight. And then you said, should I drop McConkey for D-Hop? No. Hold on to that. Could also drop Najee, Chuba, Ferg, or Hawk. Think about listen. Actually, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be the #1 wide receiver target for Patrick Mahomes. I'm not dropping McConkey. I want D-Hop on my team though, and so I'm cool till it's between Ferg or Hawk. I think we've seen enough for Ferg that Hawk, potentially, if Hawk comes back and looks absolutely amazing, could be a top 5 10 in for you. So I think you drop Ferg because Ferg is almost on that borderline of being a streaming level option anyway, Angelo. So I would personally drop, kicking the trash can. I personally would drop Ferguson there. Janesh said, you thinking Keaton Mitchell over Charb for stash? People saying they might rest Derrick Henry end of season and Keaton could be a league winner. Now, there's always the thought process behind that. If I'm pulling up my rest of season rankings, I'm sure at this current moment I have Zach Charbonnet higher than Keaton Mitchell just based on production. And especially we've seen Zach Charbonnet have fantasy football value. We saw Keaton Mitchell last year too, but also coming off that ACL. So I personally lean Zach Charbonnet, Janesh, but I think you bring up some valid points on why you might be interested in a Keaton level Mitchell stash. Angelo said, am I crazy for starting Hawk over Ferguson? Angelo, you know what? I think you bring up a valid point. I think you could drop Ferguson in that deal because I do think they're close enough this week that I think it's fine. TBR said, trade Gibbs for Kyron. Ooh, feels like a very lateral move. I personally probably lean Kyron just based on the volume that he gets game in and game out, where Gibbs gets the volume, but you're still fighting for targets with David Montgomery. Joshua said, last time Chargers defense played Cardinals, I only got 5 points for. Hey, listen, it's a Joshua, you're bringing up some good points. Like I said, defense is so weird. Defense is such a weird thing to project. We can look at Vegas sports books. We can look at projections, but at the end of the day, do you get a few turnovers? Does your defense score a touchdown? All those things come into play. PB&J said, Brees is still a top 5 guy. Look at the rest of the season. Schedule for him. Plus, last night should open it up for him. Teams will play a cover 2 shell more, which is a great and level analysis there, PBJ. I agree with that. Everything. And I would, like I said, I put Brees right now. He was in my running back 4, so I have him behind Saquon, Derrick Henry, and Bijan Robinson. I still have him ahead of Kyron Williams, and people are like, you're a freaking dummy in my video today. But I'm holding firm. I thought about it, but I'm still holding firm on Brees Hall. Anthony said, yeah, he's a good end of the season schedule, but like I was telling Caleb on Wednesday, what if the struggle continues for the rest of the season? I know there's worry, but we've seen historically, I say historically, but last year in the sample size, we saw that Brees Hall is an elite level running back. There's just a lot of question marks happening and a lot of Braylon Allen plus mouths to feed with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. Josh said, I'd rather play Bears defense next week against Patriots. Chargers defense playing Titans next week. Yeah. Did you ask about next week? Was that your question, Josh? Because I assumed it was this week. And I'm kind of confused on that question. So, Josh, if I answered that wrong, that's on me. Spike said, Pittman Jr. or Dubs as starting wide receiver. Do you think Higgins is coming back? I hope Higgins comes back. If he doesn't, I'm host. But in regards to Pittman or Dubs this week, I will be going with Pittman over Dubs. Hopefully that the added... what do we want to say? The Joe Flacco effect helps Michael Pittman Jr. this week. And Jay, appreciate you being here. You said start getting Cade or test my luck with TJ. Ooh, and this is one where I don't know how much longer we can just continue to trot out Don Cade. I feel like every week I have Don Cade as my tight end 10. I'm like, he's my tight end 10. I'm not worried about it. TJ Hawkinson, my tight end 15. So I still lean Kincaid, but if you said I'm so sick and tired of Dalton Kincaid shenanigans, and I'm just gonna throw out TJ Hawkinson, I don't think I can blame you. The roll, what, bro? You got suspended, dude. What you're playing my rest of season rankings video in your class, bro? Come on. No, you're a dedicated fan. I'm just kidding, bro. Hopefully your parents didn't give you too hard of a time. Mr. Processionist. You said Tillman as my flex. Good choice. Yeah, I have Tillman. He's a flex level option for me. And sorry, that like S sound definitely like probably rattled all your guys' ears. But Mr., let me know who you're debating him against, and I can kind of give you some better insights on that. We got Luke in the building. It says, PPR, which of Daddle, Tillman, Keenan Allen at flex? I go with Cedric Tillman. It's between Cedric Tillman and Daddle for me there, Luke, and I lean with Cedric Tillman. TBR said, trade Brian Robinson for Tracy or Chase Brown for Tracy. Ooh. I personally still lean TBR, Brian Robinson and Chase Brown over Tracy, but Tracy is making a run up the rankings. Just so you're aware, TBR, literally 2-spot difference between Chase Brown and Tracy. So I lean Chase Brown. If you really want Tracy, like I think you can make the argument that maybe you want Tracy over Chase Brown. I think that could be a discussion that you have, but I would not do the Brian Robinson for Tracy at all. And then Slike says, should I start Lamar or Josh Allen this week? This is a juicy one. Or we got essentially both of them are top 3 options for me this week, but I think I lean Josh Allen versus Miami. Just a little bit easier of a defense. Not that the Denver Broncos, I mean, Baltimore Ravens have been crushing everybody, but if we're talking like defensive strength, I lean with Josh Allen over Lamar. But both are still very good options this week. Chris said, should I sit Zay Flowers for D-Hop? Worried about him being guarded by Surtain. Yeah, but we'll have to see how much they use him in this new role, like what his role is going to look like with Deontay Johnson, if they're going to move Zay Flowers around a little bit more. The Surtain thing is real, though. I do agree. Like Mike Evans got absolutely hosed when I thought he was going to demolish Patrick Surtain, and there was like 2 weeks in a row I was like, it's going to be fine with the X wide receiver, and it wasn't. So I personally still lean Zay Flowers over D-Hop, but I understand a little bit of your concern there, Chris. Patrick said, start D-Hop, Tyrone Tracy, or DJ Moore. Let me double check where I have DJ Moore relative to Tyrone Tracy in the flex rankings. I lean with DJ Moore this week over Tyrone Tracy, Patrick, personally. I have DJ Moore as my wide receiver 19. I have Tyrone Tracy as my RB 24, though. A lot of that was just based on his injury, but I think you can make the argument that Tyrone Tracy, especially like going up the rankings this week. But I lean DJ Moore there, Patrick. Appreciate you tuning in. Shannon Carter, shout out to Shannon. Thank you so much for tuning in here to the channel. You said, need to Bigsby, ETN, Keenan Allen, or Ty Chandler. Yeah, bro, it's that bad. Oh goodness! And we have we got the music off. Sorry. Here we'll give a little bit of a sad trombone sound to you, Shannon, because you're in a little bit of a difficult spot there. So 0.5 half for wide receivers, 1 for running backs. Yeah. So I personally, you need 2. Let's go with Bigsby, and then let's go with Keenan Allen. That's who I go with. I think telling you to start Bigsby and ETN, you're eating at yourself. But granted, you get the whole backfield. But if it's a bad day, then it's a bad day. But I want Bigsby and I want Keenan Allen there, Shannon. Thanks so much for being here and supporting the channel. Lapaka, appreciate you being here. Sorry, I almost botched your name. You said trade DK Metcalf for Breece Hall. Yes, give me Breece Hall there. I think that's a great deal for you. Or Tillman and McMillan, or Tillman and McMillan for Breece Hall. Oh, bro, like if you can do Tillman and McMillan for Breece Hall, sure. Do the deal on the right. But I doubt that gets accepted, because if it does, that probably gets vetoed or something like that. So then I lean the DK Metcalf for Breece Hall side. But I would prefer to do the deal on the right side, but that's just absolutely, you're taking somebody's cookies for lunch. Stealing dessert there, bro. So yeah, I go with the deal on the right if you can do it, but I do both those deals. Andrea, appreciate you being here. Like I said, Mark Andrews or Tucker Kraft. I go with Tucker Kraft this week over Mark Andrews. Appreciate you. And then Lon said Texas D got ripped off last night. They did. It was a good game, though. You know, some of these like Thursday night football games have been, so. But I really did like this game for them. And I'm raising this a little bit because I'm looking at the screen cranking the neck. You said, who would you start? Actually, here, we'll go back down. And I'll just lower my chair. Who would you start, Goff or Stafford, is what Anthony said. I will be starting Stafford this week over Goff. I have Stafford as a top 11 play. I have Goff a little bit lower than that, Anthony. So I go with Matthew Stafford. Slike said, should I drop Sam Laporta, Kincaid for Zach Ertz or Mark Andrews or Cole Kmet? we're just kind of all in the range there, Slike, of guys that I'd be holding on to. Personally, will be holding on to Sam Laporta there. I think if you have to drop Dalton Kincaid, like you could convince me to drop Dalton Kincaid potentially for like a Cole Kmet or Mark Andrews, but I think they're all in that similar level tier. They're Slike, so I'm not being too worried about it. I don't think it's going to like make or break your roster. And then Anthony said, start Kincaid or Laporta. Goodness, Anthony, bro. I think I've been 0 for 12 for you this season on tight end rankings. Like I just have not been good, and I haven't been good myself. So I don't want to like there's nobody to blame but myself, but I do go with Sam Laporta over Kincaid this week, Anthony. Jesus said Neighbors for Hill. Personally, I still want Neighbors over Tyreek Hill rest of season, but I understand the juiciness of it. I think a lot of people will probably take the Tyreek Hill side, but if it makes you feel any better, Jesus, I got him one spot apart back to back in my rest of season rankings. So whichever side you personally lean, I would do. Mark said if Love for some reason doesn't play, which I think a lot of he did 2 full practices, so I don't think Love is in any danger of missing out. But you said, would you start Ladd McConkey over Jaden Reed, or I'm just rolling with Jaden Reed. But I'm glad that you have both. TBR is debating this against me. He's saying, Jesus, that you need to be taking the Tyreek Hill side. Listen, I have them back to back. If you prefer one side over the other, I think that's definitely something that you could look into. And then we got, you know what? I just unzipped this. Like, God, I'm not trying to do anything. Not trying to pull off the jacket at all, give you a show, but it is what it is. A shout out to Dynasty 39. Thanks so much for the super chat. You said, which 2 quarterbacks rest of season? Tua, Nix, Geno, or Stafford? That's a great question. Let's pull up the rest of season rankings and go from there. So the first guy that's going to be on this list for me is going to be Matthew Stafford. He's my QB 12 rest of season. Then we have Tua Tagovailoa sliding in as my QB 16 rest of season. Then we have Geno sliding in as our QB 18 rest of season. And then I do have Bo Nix sliding in as my QB 20. So if I had to choose 2, I would choose Stafford and Tua, which is hard to say because Geno Smith was absolutely off to a massive, just a massive start. But I do lean Tua and Stafford rest of season there, Dynasty 3-9. So appreciate you so much. Thanks for the 2. Absolutely love that you're supporting the channel. And like I said, guys, if you guys are tuning in and hit that like button, that's the best free way to support the channel. And we are on the way to 4,000 subscribers into the community, and we are like 147 away. So I absolutely appreciate everything that you guys do to support the channel. And let me get back to the questions where we were at. We got PB&J says, when in doubt, play the Bears, Joshua, especially at home. Tommy says, Kyler or Nix this week. Tommy, I will be going with Kyler riding the hot hand there. Joshua said, Lamar Jackson is hurt. I know he was hurt, but I thought he was still potentially going to be playing this week. Is it like hurt? I saw today that it looks like he's planning on playing. He said today that he's 100% playing. But I still do lean Josh Allen there, Josh. And then Jesus said, Bo Nix or Kirk. Jesus, I will be going with Kirk Cousins. I have Kirk Cousins as a top 7 QB this week. Froggy said, asking for a friend, should they do Olave and Amon-Ra St. Brown / Tyreek for K9 and Pickens? No. I'm personally holding assuming that is PPR, Froggy, I'm doing the left side for sure. Hold that side. I understand being desperate for a running back and wanting to trade for one, but that feels like way too much for K9. Jai said, hearing Travis Etienne trade rumors, thoughts. Listen, if Travis Etienne gets traded, that is the best thing for his fantasy football value, and I have him on a ton of dynasty teams. Now, I know he's questionable for this week, so we'll have to see. I didn't see, where, I know they said I don't know if they had any landing spots. So I don't know where he would go, but the Dallas Cowboys would be an interesting team landing spot. Trying to think of some other teams that could potentially be in that mix. Maybe the Buffalo Bills. Trying to think of other teams that might need a running back that would trade for Etienne, but I think it only would help his fantasy football value, so he doesn't have to compete with Tank Bigsby and get in a better situation, because I think he's super talented. Slight said Kirk or Murray. I will be going with Kirko Cousins, Cole's Cash Kirk there. Anthony says, someone wants Brees from me. So after I told you on Wednesday and you agreed, I offered Brees and Pittman for Jones and Olave. So let's see. Let's go. Let's go, Anthony. And hopefully that goes through. And if it does, is that going to go through for this week or next week? Josh said, I feel bad for everyone who started Mike Williams, Jets wide receiver last night. Dude, I was not starting Mike Williams anywhere. So I think it's hard to start Mike Williams when you have Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams playing ahead of him. But yeah, Mike Williams, or if you started, like, imagine starting like in a super deep league, Malachi Corley, and then seeing him like drop that touchdown, like absolutely go berserk there. We got Andreas said, hey Caleb, need one flex PPR, Chubb, Mooney, or Pittman. Andreas, I will be going with Chubb over Mooney, but it is close for me. Appreciate you, Andreas. Saint said, Joe Flacco or Caleb Williams this week. Ooh. We got the 39-year-old overtaking Anthony Richardson. Or we got Caleb Williams, and maybe not the best matchup of his career versus Arizona, but I still think you got to go with Caleb Williams versus Joe Flacco. I mean, Joe Flacco could. I'm glad that you got both. We're going to be talking about him in our video tomorrow, but I lean Caleb Williams there, Saint. Thanks so much for tuning in. And we got Chris coming in here with the next start sit question. He said, start Jordan Love or Baker Mayfield. Chris, I personally will be starting some J Love. Like we said, he's had 2 full practices, so just continue to monitor that injury report there, Chris. I'll be starting him over Baker Mayfield. And then Trick said, did I hear cookies? Cookies. You know, we do like some, I don't have like I guess this is like a party maker noise. Yeah, we do like some cookies. So, but that, yeah, stealing cookies is what someone was doing earlier. Alan, appreciate you, bro. You said, yo, my guy, just got a trade offer that I accepted. Won't go through till next week, but you picked up Breece Hall and JSN, and you gave up DeAndre Swift and Deontay Johnson. Think I got to win? Listen, DeAndre Swift has been absolutely balling. And so I have DeAndre Swift as a top 12 running back rest of the season, but I still have Breece Hall as a top 4 to 5. And so I think you got the better running back in Breece Hall. And then I think, honestly, Deontay Johnson, his value is going to slip going to the Baltimore Ravens, and maybe it doesn't. But I think it's going to be hard to decide between Zay Flowers and Deontay Johnson. Both are going to be like middling wide receiver 2s with upside going forward. And I think that's kind of what JSN's maybe like a high-end wide receiver 3 that definitely has flex value. So I think you got the best player in the deal, and that's the part that I like there for you, Alan. So I do think that's a major. I'll give you DJ Airham for that. That's a dub. That's a dub for you. And we got, let me go back to, I clicked off a question and then it scrolled me back to the top. We got Paul in here. Said, hello, should I start Reed or Downs? You just traded for Downs. Ooh, Paul, let me know what you traded for Downs, because I'm curious. Like I said, all of our trade videos that we do, we pull from the Fantasy Football Calculator trade database. But eventually, like once we get bigger, I'll pull all your guys' trades and we'll be breaking those down in videos. But in regards to should you start Reed or Downs, I personally would be starting Downs this week over Reed. I have, just so you know, Paul, I have Reed as my wide receiver 19, and then I have Josh Downs as my wide receiver 16. So pretty close, but I lean Downs with Joe Flacco. Alan says, keep doing the great job, brother. Of course, Alan. Thanks so much for tuning in, bro. Slike says, should I start CMC over James Conner or Tyron Tracy if he comes back next week? Slike, I guess, yeah, next week, if CMC's playing, you're putting him out there. Even if he's 90% of himself, like you still have to throw him out there because we know the game league winning upside. But it's like, let's talk about that next week. Like I said, I do my rankings like week to week because it's pretty hard to look farther apart than like rest of season on that. But I do lean the CMC there. Josh said, I'm playing Bo Nix on week 12 for Josh Allen bye week. Bo is playing Raiders week 12. Look at that. Shout out to you. Guva says, should I flex Josh Jacobs or Jaden Reed? Who would be more explosive? Guva, I mean, Jaden Reed's more explosive, but if he doesn't get the targets, I think you just got to go with Josh Jacobs. I think similar level upside, but Josh Jacobs has a little bit safer of a floor. Then Alan said, Patrick Mahomes or Sam Darnold. I have them neck and neck, Alan, this week. And I think I'm going to tell you to still do Patrick Mahomes, but I have them literally one spot apart there, Alan. So if you personally lean Sam Darnold and over Patrick Mahomes, I don't think I would debate you on that. But I personally want to go with the Patrick Mahomes side. SC90 said start Romo Dunze versus Arizona or Tyler Lockett versus Rams. SC, I do want to go with Tyler Lockett there in my flex or wide receiver 2 spot. Nerfed said, should I start Tyrone Tracy over any of these running backs? Chase Brown, Ramondre Stevenson, or Tony Pollard? Nerfed. I would start him over Ramondre Stevenson, but I have Chase Brown and Tony Pollard ahead of Tyrone Tracy. So it kind of just depends on how you have your overall lineup set up. PB&J said, Lamar should be fine. He's Allen Iverson this year. Practice? We talking about practice? Yeah, no, shout out Lamar. I mean, you hope maybe he's getting on point with Deontay Johnson a little bit there, PB&J, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers over here during the season. Josh said, Cowboys need to sign a Herbert running back. You know, Khalil Herbert, I think I probably should have discussed him in my video. I recorded it. When did I record it? Today. And honestly, I was this afternoon after I recorded, I was like, you know what? Probably should have talked about Khalil Herbert as a great stash. He's got fresh legs. No, there's potential that he's getting traded. Like, if he goes to the Cowboys, that would be juicy. Or, like I said, if Travis Etienne gets traded to the Cowboys, that's going to be juicy as well. Frizz said, start 2. Tyrone Tracy, Rachaad White, Ridley. Tyrone Tracy for me, and then Calvin Ridley for me, Frizz. And then you said, Janesh said, would you pick up Eckler or Jerome Ford was dropped today over Sharp? Yes, I would. Either of those guys, Janesh. Frizz said, hear me out. How about picking up and starting Julius Chestnut at flex this week? No Tajay Spears and looking like Tony Pollard may be out too. You know what? We can't be speaking that negative about our guy Tony Pollard because I literally have him everywhere there, Frizz. If you want to roll out Julius Chestnut, Frizz, depends on who you're rolling him out over. If we're talking like a super deep 14-team league, maybe a 16-team league, sure, buddy, sure. I'll let you start him. It could not be me, but I'll say this: he didn't look the worst. He didn't look the worst last week when he got a little bit of run. Paul said, I traded Shakir and Daddle for Downs. Ooh, my goodness, Paul. Let's go. That's some applause right there for you, Paul. W in the chat. Michael said, need running back. You have Mason, Mostert, Etienne, Moss, Davis. Look to trade one of my wide receivers. You have Debo, St. Brown, Ladd, Pickens, Downs. Offered Debo for Tyrone Tracy if accepted. It will be next week. Bro, I'm probably holding Debo there. Just saying that, even though I know Tyrone Tracy looks explosive. If you could trade, like, I would prefer to hold on to Debo and St. Brown. Could I offer like a Ladd and one of those other running backs, like a Ladd and a Moss or a Ladd and a Madison to go get Tyrone Tracy? I think any of that's good. I understand you wanting to beef up your running back room. I think that's the right move there, Michael. I just don't know if I'm giving up Debo straight up for Tracy. Jesus said, hey, bro, appreciate you, bro. Thanks for tuning in. You said you got an offer for Garrett Wilson and Aaron Jones in exchange for Bijan. I'm a bit thin at wide receiver. Chase, Wilson, Deontay, Jennings, and DJ Moore. Ooh. So we got Chase, Deontay. Yeah, that does bring you pretty desperate there. And rest of season, like I said, we put out our rest of season rankings today. We recorded it before the Jets game and seeing Garrett Wilson pop off. So what? Garrett Wilson probably right now for me, my wide receiver 16. And Aaron Jones is my overall wide receiver 15 to go get Bijan, who's a top 3 running back for me. Jesus, it depends on, like, this kind of depends on league settings wise. Like, I'm assuming it's a 12-man. I'm assuming it's like 1 flex. If it's only 1 flex, I do want Bijan, but if it's 2 flex, I want the Garrett Wilson and Aaron Jones side. Jesus, so it kind of just depends on settings there for me. And then Jay says, sent the Brees owner Braylon Allen for Chase Brown. Boom. Yeah, if you can trade away Allen. And Brown now. Wait, you already did the deal. Jay, that's a dub. That's a dub. Boom, bro. Good job, dude. But you're 8-0. Flex on us. You're going 9-0 this week. Victor said, pick 2 flex, Brody, full PPR, DJ Moore, J.K. Dobbins, Hopkins, Sutton, Shakir. I will be going with DJ Moore and J.K. Dobbins, not because they were listed first there, Victor. That's just how I have them in my rankings. A little bit more worried about Hopkins. We need to see that full snap share, what that target share is going to look like. Sutton and Shakir have both been really great flex options, like week to week. But I do lean the overall side there with DJ Moore and J.K. Dobbins. Anthony said, it's crazy how the waivers look cooked. LOL. You know, I was saying this the other day. I feel like waivers, like I make the waiver wire video on like Sunday night, and I'm just like, every week I'm like, man, like, what am I going to do? Like, you get a major injury, Anthony, so I'm right there with you. And then all of a sudden you're like, woo, no replacements out there on the waiver wire. So that's really why like the stashes are so valuable. And you almost have to get ahead of it before your other league mates do, and you have to get lucky. Victor said Kyler Murray or Matthew Stafford this week. I do have Kyler Murray a spot ahead of Matthew Stafford there, Victor. So I will be going with Kyler Murray and that Konami code quarterback upside. Like I said, guys, if you guys are tuning in, haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. Best free way to support the channel. We're on the way to 4,000 subscribers. And want you guys here in the community that we are building over here on the YouTube. I answer every start sit question. Just want that to be clear on the channel, in the comments, in streams. It's awesome. Anthony said, is Jordan Mason droppable after next week? Anthony, I don't think so. I think he's going to be a great person to hold on to because CMC, this injury is definitely re-injurable. I guess I don't even know if that's the term. He can get injured, re-injure it, and then all of a sudden you just dropped a guy that could potentially be a league winner. So I'm holding on to Jordan Mason going forward. Frizz said, yeah, Julius Chestnut would be overly get Flowers McMillan if I do flex him for his Patriots. Look, listen, Frizz, you're being bold here, bro. You're being bold on Julius Chestnut. But he does have a legendary name. I give that to you. Galatas, shout out to you in your cool profile picture. She said, I'm not sure who to start. Jaden Reed, Coleman, McMillan, or maybe Leggett. What do you think? Galatas, Jaden Reed's been letting us down over the last 2 weeks for sure. But I'm rolling him back out there. I have him as my wide receiver 19 this week. I have him way ahead of any of these other guys. So I personally go with Jaden Reed, but Galatas, in the leagues that I'm starting Jaden Reed, there is a little bit of worry at the end of my heart, like crap. You know, my brain says it's a good move. My heart says, are you ready to get hurt again? Paraco said, drop Deontay for D-Hop since I have Lamar and Henry. Dude, I wouldn't be worried about it. I still have Deontay ahead of D-Hop rest of the season. But I think we're going to have to see what the snap share, what the target share is going to look like with Deontay Johnson on the Baltimore Ravens. It's clear he might be the one. He could be who, things really work out for him. He's always open. But I do think him and Zay Flowers are going to eat into each other. Quincy Jones, appreciate you tuning in. You said start one PPR, James Conner, Marvin Harris Jr., DJ Moore, Jaden Reed, with and without Love. Yeah, so in this certain circumstance, Quincy, you're not going to have to worry about Jaden Reed because I have him behind Marvin Harris Jr. and James Conner. I lean James Conner here as the play. Then I have Marvin Harris Jr., then DJ Moore, then Jaden Reed. Like the way you listed it out is how I do have it ranked in full PPR. But I think you've got some great options there, Quincy. But I would be going with James Conner. And then Frizz says, if the stars line up and Julius Chestnut's in the play, I'm going to have to drop either McMillan or Ricky Pearsall. Yeah, if you had to drop one, I would drop Ricky. Even though we saw some production from him, I think McMillan on a week-to-week basis will have a higher upside there, Frizz. KJ, appreciate you seeing you. You said, what's up, everyone? If Pollard and Spears are out based on matchup, is Julius Chestnut a good spot start? Listen, all y'all are asking me about some Julius Chestnut. Clearly, I did not come into the stream prepared to be discussing Julius Chestnut tonight. In my rankings, like I said, I haven't adjusted them since the stream started, and we've got news that Tony Pollard might be out. So personally, it depends on who you're valuing him against, KJ. I guess that's the question. If you give me a start sit question, KJ, I will answer this for you. But potentially he is. Potentially. I got you, Paraco. Jesse, thanks so much for tuning into the channel. You said, hey, would you trade Devontae Smith for Mason and Jennings or London and Smith for Achane and Mixon? My wide receivers are Lamb, Marvin Harrison Jr. and 10. Would you trade Devontae Smith for Mason and Jennings? No, I'm not doing Devontae Smith for Mason and Jennings or London and Smith. I would do the London and Smith for Achane and or Mix. Oh, both of them? Bro, I feel like you're getting, I feel like in both deals you're losing, Jesse. Like you're losing the deal, but you might win the war. Because really for me, I think, honestly, dude, this is me saying this honestly, Jesse, I think it's a fair deal for London straight up for Devon or Mixon in a small piece, not Devontae Smith. So I think you need in the second deal to offer London, but you're going to have to try to hold on to Smith because it's an unfair deal to include both. Just based on my rest of season rankings and I think how a lot of people are going to think. So I think you're trying to get swindled here on the right trade, and I would not be doing that. I would personally be holding on to that, and we'll kind of work out the details from there. Josiah said, my wide receiver room is Chase, Diggs, Marvin Harrison Jr., Downs, JSN. You lost Diggs, and both my quarterbacks, Love and Daniels, got roughed up. Think about trading Bowers on one of my QBs, but I'm not sure. You have Kraft on my bench. I would say, yeah. I mean, I think Daniels probably plays this week. Who's your other tight end? I think your wide receiver room, I know you lost Diggs, but I think, Chase, Marvin Harrison Jr., Downs, that'll be fine for you, especially with Joe Flacco coming in. I'm not trading away Brock Bowers. I think you've got a positional advantage there, Josiah, and I know you're worried about and I know you got Kraft, but honestly, I would do Kraft and maybe a small piece and get another piece that I know that you could get a better player with Brock Bowers. I get that. But I personally want to continue to hold Brock Bowers as my tight end there, Josiah, in this crappy tight end landscape. Roland XP said, I really want to start Shakir Ridley over Tyreek. What's your opinion? I'm sick of him underperforming. Also don't see much against Buffalo. You know, I understand, Roland, why you might feel a little bit worried about Tyreek Hill. I still have Tyreek Hill as a top 8 play this week. So I'm not starting Shakir Ridley over him. I'm still rolling out Tyreek Hill, and I'm having hope. I'm having hope, Roland, but I understand you feeling a little bit upset about where your team has been going with Tyreek Hill and with Tua Tagovailoa being out. Anthony said, how do you feel about Leggett? Talk about him in my video tomorrow there, Anthony, with talking through some stashes. I like Leggett. I mean, if we're talking about him like rest of the season, or if we're talking about him this week, like this week, I do have Leggett sliding in as a top 45 wide receiver. So it's not like I have him super high. But rest of the season, I do have him as my wide receiver 47, which really between like the wide receiver 34 and wide receiver 50, it's not as big as what people like to make it out to be. So I do think Xavier Leggett has a ton of upside. A lot of people like Jalen Colker as well. Both really good options as late end of bench stashes. And then you said, I feel it on the IR, and I know you said to drop him, but I also have Brooks. Yeah, I think I like some of these. I know PB&J will probably tell you about it, but I do like some of these Carolina Panthers options. So I think going forward, you definitely have to keep them stashed. Hopefully Jonathan Brooks will come back and could be something of a great player. PB&J said, okay, you talked me into it. I'm going for some chestnut. Hey, just because I said not to do it and now you're going to do it, Julius Fat Nuts. Expector appreciate. That was funny. That was a good one. Mushu Island says, should I trade Hawkinson for Mason? I already have Bowers. Yeah, if you can do that. Have like I know that's like it almost feels like a handcuff, but like we said, I've been waiting on CMC. I have CMC on 2 rosters. I'm still in playoff contention, but like we said, everything could go wrong, and then Mason just ends up being the one that we wanted the whole entire time. PB&J said, really though, if Pollard does miss, thinking that makes Ridley a no question flex. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, if Pollard does miss, I mean, they're just gonna have to be throwing the ball a ton. So I do think you got to start Calvin Ridley, of course. I think he is flexible this week anyway. PB&J. And then Jonathan says, RB2, Tank Bigsby or Nick Chubb? Jonathan, I will be going with Nick Chubb over Tank Bigsby this week. Frizz, I'm going to change my fancy name to the Honey Roast Julius Chestnuts. Frizz, no, listen, this is what I'll say, Frizz. If you are going to play him this week, we can't wait until he wins you a week, because if Tony Pollard comes back, the name feels irrelevant. You got to do it heading into the week, bro. You got to do it heading into the week. Put your name on the overall board. And then we got KJ said, I have McMillan, Zach Moss, Javonte Williams, and Deontay Johnson for my flex start options, but could pick up Julius and these Chestnuts. Oh, I love you guys. I love you guys. This is making my Friday night. I'm glad we had the discussion of Julius Chestnuts tonight. But in regards to Deontay for my flex start options, yeah, I would say this. I would say I lean the Javonte Williams side. Javonte, if I had to rank it right now, KJ would be Javonte, Deontay, McMillan. But I think going forward, like, we're a little bit worried about Deontay Johnson's workload this week. So I think you could maybe make the argument that you would start Julius over Deontay in your flex. Josiah said, well, who do you value Daniels or Love for? I have to keep one on my bench every week, and I can get value if you trade one away. Yeah, that's a great question. So what? Jordan Love, like both of these guys rest of the season for me. I mean, of course, Jane Daniels is a top 4 option. I'd trade Jordan Love. He's a top 6 level option. It's all league by league dependent, Josiah. But if I could trade and get into like a Deebo Samuel, a Travis Kelce, I know monitor T Higgins. I know the injury, but like a T Higgins, a Chase Brown, Tony Pollard level option, I think that's what I would do. Because I don't think you're going to be able to get like a DeAndre Swift, a Chris Olave. Like, I think that's going to be hard. But if you can do those guys, then sure. But some of those other names are guys that I would target there, Josiah, with J Love. Of course, Jesse, appreciate you tuning in. Michael said, for my other team flex choices, we got Madison, Bucky, Bigsby. You have Deontay Johnson, but you're not sure about him. I could drop a Warren and get like a Leggett, Tolbert, or Coker, or even Jalen McMillan. You have done, but not sure about him. I could drop Warren and get like a Leggett. Yeah, I think Leggett's an honest option. But probably I'm still going with your flex choices. I do like Madison and Bucky and Deontay Johnson. So I think I'm keeping all the options that you currently do have there. Michael, Aldo, thanks for tuning in. You said, who should I flex? Guys, standard league, Tank Bigsby, Rashad White, or Leggett. I will be going Aldo. I will be going with, assuming you only need one flex, I'll go with Tank Bigsby. But if you need to choose between White and Leggett for that second flex option, I will be going with White. And then Victor said, who has a weaker D for tight end out of Falcons and Chicago? I don't have the metrics in front of me, Victor. But I would imagine if we're looking at the two, it would be the Falcons. Their secondary has been pretty good. Now, I know tight ends typically line up against the linebacker, so I would need to double check that, Victor, because I don't know that off the top of my head, but I imagine it's the Falcons. Frizz said, ordered my chestnut jersey now. Shout out to you, Frizz. Put it on. Wear it proudly on Sunday. MDHD said, with Pacheco, Ramondre, Tracy, Javonte, Mostert, what moves do you recommend to get receivers? I don't know who I'm assuming that you have two other starting level running backs, and these aren't just all your running backs here, MDHD. So assuming that, I mean, if you were going to pair together, let's say you were just going to want to trade away Tyrone Tracy with this overall value spike that he's had. If you could trade Tyrone Tracy for like T. Higgins or trade him for Amari Cooper, like that's a deal that I would look to do. If you're looking at Ramondre Stevenson, he's kind of in the same range, like a DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams. If you pair them together, potentially we could get up like into potentially like a Cooper Kupp, BTJ level wide receiver. Just depends on who you're trading with and what that looks like. PB said, oh man, my Panthers don't even know what's going on with this. Dude, PB&J, you jinxed them, bro. You started coming on the channel and they drafted Bryce Young and everything's kind of gone downhill ever since that. AI said, what's up, Caleb? Hope everything's good, bro. It's going good. Going good tonight. Just having a blast. We've been streaming for almost an hour and 30 minutes now, so it's been good. You said need a flex started this week. DeMario, Deontay Johnson, Alec Pierce. Ooh, AI. I'm rolling out Deontay Johnson and praying that he has a 45 to 50% snap share. That's what I'm doing, AI. Go with Deontay Johnson. And you said you're sitting at 4-4, third highest scorer. Okay, got you. I'll answer that question here in a second. Josiah said, I'm thinking Love and JSN for Tyreek, or am I reaching? No, that's fine. Give me Tyreek Hill there, Josiah. If you can get that done. I mean, that might be hard for the Tyreek owner to give it up. Understanding that we've been waiting on Tua and then all of a sudden we have Tua coming back. It might be a little bit hot. I will say that. You might have to lower the expectations a little there, Josiah, to get rid of J Love. And then Jesus said, going back to the Aaron Jones plus Wilson for Bijan trade, the league settings are 10-man, full PPR by running backs are Pollard, Harris, Tracy, Chase Brown, Irving, and Chubb, bench of RB2 and RB3. Yeah, give me Bijan there. Give me Bijan there, Jesus. That helped make my decision there, bro. AI said, sitting at 4-4, third highest score. Should I win this week? Got offered Tank Dell, Tony Pollard for DK. Should I sit and wait or take it? I think I'm just a Tony Pollard truther. So personally for me, I want that side because I have Tank Dell as a top 25 wide receiver rest of the season. We got Tony Pollard sliding in right around like RB 18 to RB 20. So I feel like you're getting pretty good value for DK Metcalf, who's right now sliding in for me as like my wide receiver 16 rest of the season. So very good for you, AI. And then MDHD said I have Barkley as well, but I'm willing to move all those mentioned. Yeah. Oh, I agree. So hopefully those trade options helped you, MDHD. Slime said, who to start at flex? Addison, Gabe Davis, Zach Ertz, or Rome Odunze. Slime, we are in the mud, bro. We are absolutely in the mud. I'm personally leaning with going with Addison here. I talked about Gabe Davis in my stash video last week. Yeah, we'll go with Addison. We'll roll him back out. Hope it's okay. And yeah, Josiah said maybe Love and JSN for DeAndre Swift. Yeah, that's probably a little bit more doable for you, Josiah. Michael said, thanks so much as usual. Enjoy your show always. If Chestnut starts this week and goes off, I'm changing my name to Joey Chestnuts. Dude, I saw the Buckeye that you put in there. I just assumed you put the Buckeye because of the Buckeyes. Hey, it's a big game tomorrow versus Penn State. But Michael, I hope if you do start Julius Chestnuts that it works out for you. The Dell Eye is open. PB&J, that's great. Hey, PB&J, send me right now. Give me Scary Terry back in the subscriber league, bro. Give him back to me. I'll give you Tank Dell. I need some help this week. But we have caught up on all the questions for tonight. So, like I said, guys, we are sitting here, and I am more than willing to answer any more start sit questions that are available. But I did just catch up on all the questions here in the chat. I just saw 2 more people subscribe. So I do know that it takes a minute for the subscriber questions to come over. So once I see those, then I will quickly answer them. but we probably are at like the 5 to 10 minute mark before we end the stream. It's been absolutely amazing. I honestly, Friday night streams are honestly the best. I cannot say enough good things about it. And Shiesty said, who would I start? You have 3 spots. You have 4 players. We got Romeo Dubs, Jordan Addison, Keon, and Hopkins. You have 3 spots. You have 4 players. I'm personally going with Jordan Addison, Romeo Dubs. Scratch that. I'm going off my ranking. I went with my gut here, and I'm not confident in myself. So let me pull up my ranking Shiesty 12 so I don't mess this up for you. We're going to be going with Romeo Dubs, for sure. We're going to be going with DeAndre Hopkins. And then it's between Keon, and then it's going to be between Jordan Addison, and I go with Keon. So, bench Jordan Addison, Shiesty. I was confident in myself, and then I did not get confident. So I went back to the overall rankings. Andrea said, "Are you worried about the weather in Green Bay with rain and wind?" Yeah. I mean, it's Green Bay. It's always a crappy weather game. So I don't know what I'm trying to remember what your question was. Was it about Leggett, or I guess your Green Bay players, like just talking J Love. I mean, I think the thing is, like, J Love, we're still worried about that groin. I still have Jaden Reed, like I said, pushed down to my wide receiver 19, which I still feel like is an appropriate level of value. I have Josh Jacobs as my RB12, so that's kind of how I'm viewing this Green Bay game. PB&J said, "I love Tank, but I'm not sure I scary Terry. I love him." Hey, well, I might attach a piece, PB&J, to get me back up. We could do a live trade on stream, PB&J. Like, just imagine how freaking amazing that would be. Just absolutely incredible. First said, "I haven't started Murray in 3 weeks. You have May for those back-to-back games you did. And last week I had Jameis Winston starting Murray this week, but should I still hold May rest of the season?" Yeah, I'm holding May rest of the season. I think we started to see May, like, I don't want to say like Jaden Daniels level upside, but I would say top 7 QB upside before getting hurt. So I do really like May, and I would be holding him there, Frizz. Michael said, "How about Dak or Darnold?" Michael, I will be going with Sam Darnold. I have him as my QB7 this week over Dak. Oh, you said, yes, Andrea, thank you so much for bringing this back. You said Tucker Kraft or Mark Andrews. That doesn't really affect my opinion, especially on tight ends. Like, since Tucker Kraft does a lot of his work within that 10-yard range, like, the weather really doesn't affect my opinion that much for Tucker Kraft. And then Jonathan said, "Who would you choose? Flex Ladd McConkey, Khalil Shakir, Romeo Dubs, or Waddle this week?" Ooh, Jonathan, it's going to be between Waddle and Ladd. It's going to be a hard decision for you. I lean Ladd. We'll go with the hot hand of Ladd over Waddle. But just so you know, Jonathan, I have them 2 spots apart in full PPR flex. So I would go with Ladd. And then Anthony says, "I need 30 from Staffy, Shakir, Mooney, and Walker." You're going up against the number 1 points team. Anthony, wishing you luck, bro. You're sending out the good vibes that you can absolutely crush it here this week. Antoine, dude, I had never seen you around here on the channel, so sup, bro? Thanks so much for tuning into the channel. Like I said, guys, if this is your first time tuning in, we answer all start sit questions in all of our comments in Bidoo streams, and definitely on the way to 4,000 subscribers. So I appreciate you guys tuning into the channel if this is your first time finding us. You said, "Should I trade and make a package with Dobbins and Scary Terry, or hold them both? And for who currently you're 5 and 3?" So you're at a good enough point where it's like, Antoine, I would honestly, if you could send me the rest of your team, I think this will be a little bit better of a question for me to help you answer, because then I can kind of look and see what position values that I would like. I mean, if you're going to package them together, I still have Scary Terry as a top 10 wide receiver rest of season. So if we're like going to package him with Dobbins, I mean, could you get up to an AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, Kyron, Jahmyr Gibbs, CD Lamb level player potentially. So that's what I would do if I was trying to package them, assuming that you have depth across the board that you can kind of lean into there, Antoine. But hope that helps. And if you want to put your full team, that could also help me answer that for you as well. Anthony said, "Yeah, maybe cooked." Anthony, bro. Oh goodness. I got to play the DJ horn. That made me laugh, bro. That's hilarious. Or like a sad trombone sound. Like, that's kind of where you're at. Oh goodness. PBJ said, "That would be what kind of piece we talk?" Dude, we're talking live. PB&J here. I'm answering everybody else's questions, but this is for our subscriber. It ain't gonna be CMC, PB. I'll tell you that much. I'd give you Tank, and like, I'd give you like Bucky or Javante if you want one of them. Like a little 2-for-1, if you have a preference. on either of them. Or if you wanted like a Tank and Jacoby Myers. Any of those bench pieces not named CMC could be yours. If that would do a deal for you. And I don't know if you have another wide receiver that you're willing to trade too, PB. I'd be open. Jesse said, what about trade Devontae Smith for Debo? I might be a little bit higher on Debo than majority there, Jesse. So I personally lean the Debo over Devontae Smith, but there's probably a lot of people that do like Devontae Smith. I feel like it's so up or down. I mean, it's up and down with both of them, but I just think Debo with no Brandon Ayuk, we didn't get to see it before him really getting slightly injured, but I think it's going to be good down the stretch. Justice Reborn said, can I drop Wandale or Pearsall for Coker? Coker is going to boom. Listen, I would hold on to Wandale there, Justice, just because we have seen the overall value of Wandale Robinson, especially if something happens to Malik Neighbors or anything like that. But I do think going Coker over Pearsall would be a great move. I honestly should have talked about Coker in my video yesterday, but I felt like when I looked at the sleep, like he like absolutely soared and sleeper ads over the last few days. So I was like, he doesn't really feel like a stash. So definitely worthy of consideration there, Justice. Frizz said, I'm on a win streak, currently 3-5, trying to make a playoff run. Maybe Chestnut isn't the play this week. Should I stick with Flowers at flex? LOL. I personally lean Flowers. I think this is maybe one of the last weeks we can confidently rely on Flowers before him and Deontay Johnson just start kind of both being middling wide receiver twos that have a ton of upside and provide value. So I lean with Flowers over Chestnut, but I understand the excitement that's currently happening in this chat with Julius Chestnut. Jason, appreciate you being here. He said, hey, brother, would you start Pitts or Njoku this week after Pitts' crazy game? Man, Pitts did have an absolutely crazy game. I'm still going with Njoku. Last week, I know it wasn't great, but still had 7 targets. So the last 3 weeks, he's had 7, 14, and 7 targets, Jason. So give me David Njoku in that volume over Kyle Pitts. I know the touchdown was there. I go with David Njoku. And then Orange 403B. Like I said, guys, I appreciate all you guys for hanging out with me on your Friday night. So thanks so much. You said full PPR, 2 flex. Waddle, Worthy, Ridley, Sutton, Rico, Stevenson need to win this. Man, just put the pressure on me, Orange. Tell me what you need. No, but I will go with Waddle will be my first option. And then I lean with the Stevenson side. Just so you know, just so we pull this up, just so you're aware here, Orange. When we're talking like Waddle, I'm trying to give you just some numbers so you kind of understand how close it is for me here. Because what I said, Waddle and then Ramondre, and then I'm trying to remember how close Ridley is. And then, yeah, I have Ridley very close to Waddle as well. So I think you can make the argument that maybe you should go Ridley Waddle over Stevenson, but I personally want the Stevenson side. So I go with Stevenson and Waddle, and then that's where I go if I'm trying to get the win this week. There, Orange, appreciate you. Roland said, now do I start Ridley or Shakir because DK is out? I lean Calvin Ridley. I have Calvin Ridley 3 spots ahead of Shakir, Roland, in my personal ranking. So I go with some Calvin Ridley. And then we got Shiesty. Appreciate Shiesty coming in here. Shiesty 12 says, should I trade anyone? I'm in non-PPR. Thank you, Shiesty, for giving me that. 12-man PPR league, Lamar, Derrick Henry, Kyron, Mike Evans, J-Mo, George Pickens, Jordan Addison, Dubs, Hopkins, Keon, and Brock Purdy. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you got a lot of wide receivers that in a non-PPR league, we definitely want some more running backs. So I would potentially, I know you got 2 elite level running backs, but could we get a little bit more depth at the running back position? I would look to trade like a Jordan Addison and a George Pickens to hopefully then tier up at that overall running back position. If I offered those 2 guys to go get into a Swift, to go get into a David Montgomery potentially, I think that helps your overall roster there, Shiesty, especially in non-PPR. And then Antoine said, I got running backs Barkley and Bijan. Holy. Neighbors, Marv, Olave, BTJ, Puka, and Deontay. 8-team league redraft, by the way. Hey, you know what? It's okay. Everyone plays differently. I was about to say, bro, I was like, this team's insane. Definitely will be tuning in every single stream I can. Thanks, bro. Yeah, that you got a good squad. We're going to keep it 100. We're just going to be having to make the right start-sit decisions at the wide receiver position just to continue things going well. So, Antoine, appreciate you so much. We're putting out a video tomorrow. We stream, just so everyone's aware, we stream every Wednesday night. We try to stream every Friday night that I'm available. Sometimes, weekends, we got stuff happening with friends, family. So I try to stream on the weekends once a weekend as well. And then I answer all my comments and we post videos like 5 to 6 days a week. So yeah, appreciate you, Antoine. Thanks so much for tuning in. PB&J said, I throw in chest. Goodness gracious. Stop it, PB&J. I'm not giving you CMC. Lethal said, for real though, Jake Bates or Elliott this week. Oh, I didn't know that you were serious. I thought it was a joke. Lethal, you had me. Lethal, bro, you're making me laugh. I honestly thought you were joking, but I would go with Jake Elliott. But bro, I go with Elliott, but I understand why you might want to go with Bates. I don't do kicker rankings, but I know it would be close. I know it would be close between the two. But I do lean Jake Elliott in that matchup. And then you said, I hear Green Bay versus Detroit is going to be rainy and windy, so maybe that's a reason for Elliott. Yeah, I would lean Elliott. Jason said, would DJ Moore and Chase Brown be enough to get James Cook? Yeah, that should be, I would say, more than enough. I mean, what, James Cook, like RB11, RB10 rest of season, and then we got like Chase Brown sliding in somewhere like RB22, and then wide receiver 17-18 for DJ Moore. Yeah, that should be more than fair deal there, Jason, to get that done. Now, if that player doesn't want to, or your co-manager that you're trying to trade for doesn't want to do it, 100% understand that. But I would 100% be doing that deal. Anthony said, if only I could go back to draft night. You know, it's like the SpongeBob meme of you like watching yourself go up and draft some Breece Hall. Like, no, go back. Yeah, no, I get it, Anthony. Frizz said, currently my best wide receivers are Olave and Devontae Smith. Is that enough to sit on rest of the season? Or should I look to upgrade ASAP? Scarred to pick up these top wide receivers like Reed and DJ Moore who aren't performing weekly. Yeah, I mean, I think if you could potentially go buy low on a Jaden Reed or DJ Moore to help off your lineup, that'd be huge. I am a little bit worried if those are your top two, like the overall upside there, Frizz, especially as we get kind of into the back part of the season with us approaching the playoffs. Josiah said, just traded Love and JSN for Aaron Jones. Happy because Love was sitting on my bench. Bro, Josiah, shout out to you for coming into the stream, asking some trade questions. I don't know if my answers really helped you at all, but I'm glad that you got a deal done, bro. So thanks so much for being here. Like I say, guys, I appreciate every single one of you. Like we're grinding. We want you guys to be grinding and winning, and so absolutely appreciate it. NBA Edits, I think this is your first time on the channel, so shout out to you for being here. Like I said, guys, we're answering every start sit question this season. Once you guys here in the community, I answer all my comments too. So once you guys here as well. And shout out to Kobe Bryant. RIP, Mamba. Honestly, I just screamed in the mic, so I apologize. But Kobe Bryant arguably needs to be more in the GOAT conversation than we give him. It's always LeBron versus MJ. Maybe throw Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in there. Maybe Bill Russell. But Kobe Bryant needs to get his flowers, man. Dude's a legend. I said, hey, I need a tight end. Should I drop Bigsby, Shakir, Mason Tillman, or Hopkins for Taysom Hill? That's the best option we got, NBA Edits. I think we got to drop Hopkins here. Hopkins or Shakir. I can't tell you to drop Shakir. He just balled last week. And Cedric, I don't want you to drop. Yeah, I would drop Hopkins there, NBA Edits. It sucks. But I think you're going to be in a spot where I would drop Hopkins for Taysom Hill for this week for sure. Anthony said there's an Interstellar meme about, but NBA Edits. Honestly, dude, thanks so much for tuning in. Anthony said there's an Interstellar meme about Breece that represents me to the T. Anthony, you'll have to send that over to me. PB&J said, asking for my cousin's roommate. What a question. Are you guys all hanging out and you're just playing me? That's kind of weird to think about, that like I'm on somebody's, like I know I'm doing this and like there's 20 people watching on screen somewhere, but like it is a weird thought process when you're doing it. What's market value on CMC right now? Well, it's going up. I feel like if you waited this long, like you're still going to be selling low, because like what right now is like RB12, RB13 rest of the season. So like, could you flip him for like James Cook, Josh Jacobs? But if CMC comes back as an absolutely dominating factor, he could be a top 5 running back. And you've waited on it for this long. So if you've held on to him, like, I mean, you might as well just wait and see if you got something that could win you your league. That's kind of how I look at it. PB&J's roommate. CXL34. Would you start Ingram or Njoku this week? I would start Njoku this week. And who would you keep rest of season? Rest of season, I would be going with Njoku over Evan Ingram. Now, granted, I have both as top 7 tight end CXL, so it is close enough. But David Njoku with that target share going forward, it's just too juicy. So give me David Njoku over Ingram. And then you said you think ETN is going to bounce back. I mean, there's nothing to say that he's going to bounce back. I think hopefully we can cross our fingers, CXL, and hope that he gets traded out of here, that then we could get him on another team and things really start to work out for him. But personally, I don't want to say that he's going to bounce back, but it's hard to assume that. Then PB&J said, no, I'm just trying to banter a trade partner. I got you. Oh, I see what you said. Oh, about CMC's value? Yeah, bro, stop it. You know me. You're trying to see what it's going to cost to get CMC in the subscriber league. I see what you're doing here, and I ain't going to fall for it, PB&J. I ain't falling for it at all. Frizz said, this guy in my league really wants Bijan. He offered me twice. Reed, Cooper, James Conner for Bijan. No. Yeah, no, that's not a good enough offer, bro. Really, like James Conner and Cooper for Bijan, that doesn't feel like enough. And then Olave and Reed are close enough that I feel like he's winning that deal for sure there, Frizz. So I would keep the Bijan and Olave side. And then Justin, shout out to you for being in. You said Puka or Monty, PPR full. Are we talking this week? We're talking like this is like a trade for rest of season, Justin. Let me know. I'm answering it like it's this week, like it's a start state question. I lean with Puka Nacua this week over Monty. But if it's rest of season, I would need to check my rest of season rankings. But Justin, I would go with Puka over Monty this week. And the CXL said, thanks, my guy. Appreciate you, CLX. And then NBA just said, start Hopkins, Tillman, or Shakir. And also for tight end, the options are Jonnu Smith and Tucker Kraft. I would be going with Tucker Kraft as your tight end option there, NBA edits. And then between Shakir, Tillman, and Hopkins, I will be going with Khalil Shakir. I would love to tell you to start Cedric Tillman, especially after last week. But I do have Khalil Shakir 3 spots higher in my rankings this week. Anthony said, yeah, bounce ETN out of here. Bigsby to the moon. I mean, Bigsby's already heading to the moon. We'll have to see. With Travis Etienne, I don't know if his injury is like legit or they are actually shopping him to try to keep him healthy. Like we said, the NFL sometimes, NFL and NBA have a lot of similarities, and when a player is looking to potentially be traded on what they do with said player before trying to get him out. So I do believe that Travis Etienne is going to be on the trade market. So yeah, and Justin, yeah, I assumed it was this week. I would go with Puka there. And then Jesus said, thanks for answering my questions, bro. I'll tune in more often. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks so much, Jesus. Catch you, bro. Anthony said, I heard Puka had a knee injury during. Yes, he did. He did have an injury, but it still looks like he's on track to play this week. And they said it was not severe at all. So think he's still going to be playing. I mean, I am worried about that PCL in his knee that potentially he could at some point re-injure it. But yeah, I think he's going to be good to go this week. And then Justin said Nix or Kyler. I have Nix as my QB 15. I have Kyler as my QB 9, Justin. So I will be going with Kyler Murray over Bo Nix. But I appreciate you tuning in. And then Jonathan said, would you take the gamble and start TJ Hawkinson over Sam Laporta? Jonathan, listen, I have Sam Laporta higher in my rankings, but they're literally 4 spots apart in my rankings, Jonathan. So if I am you and you were like, you know what, I'm so sick and tired of the Sam Laporta show each and every week, I think you're in a 100% argument that you should and could potentially start TJ Hawkinson this week and see what happens. PB&J said, yeah, it's amazing how a trade is a miracle cure for injuries this year. It's crazy. It's crazy. It works. It works out every time. All of a sudden, Devontae Adams been nursing an injury and miraculously, like, dude's healthy. Dude's healthy. So it's great. Justin said, start 2 PPR, Olave, Connor, B-Rob, DeAndre Swift. I will be starting, Justin, this week at DeAndre Swift and James Conner. NBA Edits said Ridley, Hop, or Tillman this week, half PPR. I do go with Calvin Ridley there. NBA Edits. Anthony said, maybe I can persuade the cup manager. Go see what you can work out there, Anthony. Go see. Lethal said, should I drop Denver defense and grab Coker? I'm using Cincy this week, but Denver has some good matchups. Yeah, that's an issue, bro. Depends on how deep. Like, I think Coker is good, but I think when we're looking at this, like, I don't like to hold 2 defenses, but the Denver Broncos defense has been so juicy that it's hard for me not to tell you, like, in a league I did have to drop them, but I'm hoping that since it's not a juicy matchup, or whatever, that I will then get to get them back next week, because I do think Denver going forward is a great defense. PPJ said Adams, D-Hop, possibly Etienne. That'd be crazy. Oh my goodness. Gerger, bro. You're literally pulling in. We've been streaming since 6:45, bro. Eastern Standard Time. You pull in up here late. Bro, where you been? Where you been? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, bro. You said Josh Jacobs questionable. Should I play Kareem Hunt over him this week? I would wait until tomorrow till we get more of an idea. I still this week, I think you got to go with Kareem Hunt though versus Tampa Bay. I think the matchup plus is the scoring environment. It's a little bit more conducive for Kareem Hunt than it is Josh Jacobs. But to you do you there, Gerger. But I do lean Kareem Hunt there. Lethal said, follow up. If I grab Coker, would I start him over Tillman? No, I would not start Coker over Tillman. I would start Tillman though. I would start Tillman for sure. Alex said, Caleb, anyone you recommend as a good boom bust wide receiver that could potentially be on waivers? With Higgins out, I didn't start Dell, and I have Dubs as a potential wide receiver too. I'm happy Wilson put up 30 points. Yeah. So we got Dubs. I think Dubs is potential, like high enough potential for a boom bust that could be out there on waivers, based on my rankings. Because I do have Dubs. I mean, he's probably not as high as you want as like my wide receiver 37. I mean, if you don't have Cedric Tillman out there, Cortland Sutton, Khalil Shakir, those are the only guys that might be on waivers. Keenan Allen, I have a spot ahead of Romeo Dubs. So otherwise, I would just be rolling out Romeo Dubs there, Alex, depending on what's out there on the waiver wire. Gerger, I did start early. I actually, one of my college buddies is in town, and he's coming over. I live in Indiana. It's the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time. So he's coming over at 9. So I was like, I promised you guys I would stream on a Friday. So I was like, I got to get this in before he comes over. I also had to record my video for tomorrow. So I was just like, you know what? We're going early. Gerger, I scheduled it though, bro. I scheduled it this morning. So like I said, if you guys ever want to know, I schedule my streams in the morning. So if you ever questioning when I'm going to be streaming later on, I always do schedule those pretty early. Anthony said Gerger has a late pass. Yeah, he's good. He's good though. He does have a good late haul pass there. Thanks, Anthony, for catching it. He's also making some beats for me. So shout out to Gerger. Riggs, appreciate you being here. He said, hey man, now that Hawk and Tua are back for the Vikings and Dolphins respectively, how do you think they will split on that thing the rest of the Riggs, I didn't even read it. Sorry, that might have been a little loud. This is what I'll say. I feel like it'll be interesting to see for sure. I think Tua, if we're looking at Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, good things for Tua and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. We're looking at the Vikings. It's going to be a little bit more interesting when we're looking at how TJ Hawkinson's going to then impact the Jordan and Addison, Justin Jefferson. I really think TJ Hawkinson coming back is just going to affect Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison's already been boom bust. He's just going to continue to be that way. Touchdown or bust for Jordan Addison. I think TJ Hawkinson will probably slide back into that tight end 2 role, assuming that he's going to be able to be healthy. Like we saw Mark Andrews coming off injury. The start of the season looked slow. There's potential that TJ Hawkinson looks super slow coming back as well. So that's kind of just how I view it, Riggs. I think a lot to be determined there without us seeing it on the field. But I do think TJ Hawkinson potentially has the ability to get higher up in the tight end tiers rest of the season going forward, just because of how bad the tight end spots have been. Freddie said, offered up Murray, Flowers, and McMillan for Jalen Hurts earlier this week. The owner DM me, asked me, you'll think about it, waited one day and you reject it. Yeah, I mean, probably the Deontay Johnson signing impacted that for sure. Yeah, Frizz, I'm still cool with Kyler Murray and the team you got. Hey, take a shot for the chat. Shout out to you, Gerger. NBA has said Blake Group or Jake Elliott this week. We're back to our kicker rankings. I think we got to go with Jake Elliott this week over good old Blake. Their NBA edits. Gerger said, speaking of the beats, I couldn't find your email on your account. I emailed Element, though, if you want to get in touch with them. Okay, cool. Gerger, it's literally, if you go to my channel, just so you know, I forget how to get there, actually. You go to, I think it's community. No, maybe not. You click, this is what you do. Gerger, you click on more on my profile page, and it says view email address, and you can see my email address right there, Gerger. So it's on my chat. And then Anthony said, yep, we just witnessed that. We did. We're just having some fun, Anthony. We're having some fun on a Friday night, bro. Yeah, we did a little Hawk 2 action. Never again. Not spitting on not dying. Alex said, yikes, I would not trust Hawk. Tight ends have been... Dude, Alex, it's been vile. I've been wrong. I literally have been the worst person you could ever imagine with my tight ends this season. I like, if you would have come pre-draft, like I was smoking the Mark Andrews juice, and clearly I'm not doing that anymore. We got Brian. Shout out to Brian for being here. You said, hey, what's up, man? You have Geno at QB. DK ruled out for the match. Do you recommend keeping Geno or taking a chance on any of the following from waivers? Carr, Herbert, or Flacco? Yeah. I had Geno lower this week anyway. I think you could debate Joe Flacco, but I think I'm still rolling out Geno Smith there, Brian. I think Tyler Lockett, the tight ends, Noah Fant, JSN will be fine. I mean, granted, we got to lower expectations a little bit, Brian, but I think I'm still rolling out Geno Smith. Chaka, shout out to you. He said, "What's up, King Chaka?" I don't know if you just heard all that just went down, but if it did, hopefully it made you happy. You said you were offered Amari, Pollard, and Ladd for BTJ. Holy. I know that's a lot, but I feel like I'm downgrading from depth with this trade. Thoughts? Chaka, give me the league format. Is this 12-man? Is this one flex? Give me your starting lineup right now, Chaka, and I'll give you a better idea with that. I know that's a lot of typing out to do, but give me your lineup and I'll answer this question a little bit better. Personally, I want the package, but depends on the depth and the amount of teams. Sean said pick 2.5 PPR, Ladd, Mostert, Tillman, Wandell. Sean, I will be going with Ladd and Tillman this week. Mostert last week, I mean, he got 2 touchdowns, but the yards weren't great. And so it's kind of touchdown or bust for our guy, Raheem Mostert, which could be great going forward. But personally, I lean the Tillman and Ladd side. Gerger said bench is Chase Brown, Keon Coleman, Devontae Adams, Xavier Legette, MPJ, Tyrone Tracy, Kareem Hunt. Any drops ads I should make for rest of season playoffs? Gerger, we're looking good, bro. We're looking good. I'm putting out a stash video tomorrow if you want to tune into that. But honestly, I'm thinking of the stashes I suggested, and I will most likely be holding all these guys over those stashes based on your bench size. Anthony said last year, if I had Laporte and Kincaid, I'd be okay, but how the tables have turned. The tables have turned so much. Like, literally, when I talk about tight ends, this is I literally sad trombone. Like, that's how I feel about the tight end position this year. Georgia said, also bet I keep looking for email, but if I don't reach out by next week, you should check in with them. Okay, I'll email Elma and ask him to put us just in another group chat. It's literally just, I don't care, there's 28 people here. Georgia, it's just like C, my last name, 13 at gmail.com. C, NIEMI 13 at gmail.com. That's what it is, Georgia. So I don't care. We got 28 people. If you all want to email me, you can. And Brian said, thanks, man. No Noah Fant, but I'll keep Geno. Okay. Good to go, Brian. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks so much for tuning in. Jacob said, now that DK won't be back till week 11, should I do Waddle and Hawkinson for DK? Yes. If you can do that, I think that's a really fair deal, especially since you don't need Hawkinson. So if you can get that done, go get some added wide receiver depth on your team, Jacob. I like that for you. PB&J said the Andrews juice isn't expired. It's not expired. I'm not saying it's expired. I just think when I was hyping it up, I was like, dude, he could be the tight end 1. And I think those days, that ship has sailed. But being a solid tight end is still in the question. But for drafting him in like the 4th round, still doesn't feel great. Anthony said, start 2, Pittman Jr., Pop Douglas, Shakir, Mooney. Anthony, I will be going with Michael Pittman Jr. and Mooney. In regards to like our difference between Mooney and Khalil Shakir, I do have them quite a bit apart. It's really between Michael Pittman Jr. and Shakir, and I have them 2 spots apart. So, Anthony, if you prefer Khalil Shakir over Michael Pittman Jr., that's fine, but I do think Joe Flacco is going to help out Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs. Frizz said, think offering McMillan and Zay Flowers for Reed is good enough for Reed owner to take if he has... I think potentially, I'm just going to say it, I think a lot of the people that look at Zay Flowers now with Deontay Johnson, they're a little less excited about it, Frizz, so... he might ask for something a little bit more than McMillan on top, to be honest. But if you can get it done, you get it done. Sean said New England D versus Tennessee D versus Cleveland. Or the Chargers D versus Cleveland. Sean, I go with the Chargers D versus Cleveland. I have it higher in my rankings, but like I said, after what we saw just go down from Cleveland last week, feels a little bit interesting. NBA Edit said I had Denver D, but rest of the season schedule is horrible, so I dropped for Chiefs D. Good play. Yes. Versus the Bucks, the Chiefs defense this week, I'll tell you where I have them. I mean, I have them as my overall defense number 3. So I do think the Chiefs defense is super good this week. NBA edits. We'll have to see how things play out. Anthony said spam emails incoming. LOL. And then this is Chaka's team. We got 10-man PPR, Arby's, Kamara, Walker, Jones, Brown, Ingram, 3 wide receiver. Oh, okay, so it's 3 wide receiver. Thanks, Chaka. That definitely helps. In a 10-man, and you asked, you just offered Amari Cooper, Pollard, and Ladd. Okay, we got a good enough team that I don't want to be tearing off of BTJ. But you were offered Amari, Pollard, and Ladd. I do think it helps your running back room a little bit, though. But honestly, Chaka, in a 10-man, I probably hold your side. because I do think BTJ going forward could be absolute high-end upside. And I think you're going to struggle with start-sit decisions anyway, Chuck. So I hold your side. And then Antoine said, do you think Terry and Dobbins for Justin Jefferson could work? Potentially. Depends on how they view Terry. That's the real thing. And if they're willing to do that. I personally think that's a little bit far-fetched, Antoine, but if you could get it done, you get it done. Anthony said, Joe Flacco only helps downs. Insert Karate Kid meme. I hate it here. Oh, goodness, Anthony. You're funny, bro. You're funny, bro. That one, Marcel, appreciate seeing you, dude. Thanks for tuning in tonight. You said Xavier Legette or Deontay Johnson. Ooh. This is interesting. I think I'm telling you to go with Xavier Legette this week. But that's also, like I said, I don't know the overall snap share that Deontay is going. And so Deontay, if he does what Amari Cooper did in week 1, you're like going to be like, Caleb, you're an idiot. I should have gone with Deontay Johnson. But in that offense with everyone else, like I personally lean the Xavier Legette over Deontay Johnson side. And NBA Edits, thanks so much for tuning in, bro. Appreciate you. And yeah, that Marcel, I would go with Xavier Legette. Sean said Baker, Stafford, or Knicks this week. Sean, I would be going with Stafford, my guy. Appreciate you so much for tuning in. Gerger, dude, I put my butt on the line in front of 25 people with my email. So, I'll catch you, bro. Thanks so much. Hopefully 6-3. Go get it. Go get it. Mr. Magic said Titans D or Bears D this week. I personally go with the Titans D this week going up against New England. It's not great, but I do go with the Titans D. Anthony said, even when Flacco played earlier this year, it's like Pittman wouldn't get the targets. I know I'll partner a lot with my weeks. Yeah, it's been brutal with Pittman, but I still do have Pittman ahead in my rankings this week. Mr. Magic said trade Kareem, Jacobs, and Javonte for Gibbs and Evans. Yes, because Kareem's potentially role will be result going out, and so I think Kareem and Jacobs for Gibbs is fair, and I do want Evans over Javonte, so I want the right side there, Mr. Magic. And then Jay Silva said Anthony at his 3 best games, Flacco. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning there with MPJ. And then Fletcher said trade Rashad White and Cole Kmet for Mahomes and Worthy. Yeah, that feels like a low-end stack there, Fletcher, to go get some Mahomes. I know it's been disappointing for Mahomes, but especially if you don't have an elite level QB, like Mahomes, like just being able to have that potential going forward is definitely something that I could talk myself into long-term going forward. So like I said, guys, we kind of have caught up on all the start-sit questions here tonight. I just appreciate all you guys for coming and hanging out on the channel. We're putting out a video tomorrow. If you haven't checked out our rest of season rankings video that we put out today, go check out to that. Oh, we got Justin coming in with a buzzer beater. And we got 2 more questions. Jay Silva coming in, need it. And then I'm gonna hop out of here. You said need a running back and a flex. Chuba, Tracy, we'll be going with Jay Silva. We'll be going with Michael Pittman Jr. And Chuba. But Tracy is also interesting. So if you want to do Tracy instead of MPJ, I think that's up to you and could be done. And then Justin said Tyrone Tracy or Tony Pollard. Well, I would monitor Tony Pollard's status. Justin, a lot of people are excited about Julius Chestnut this week because we have Tony Pollard might not be playing. I lean Tony Pollard if he plays over Tyrone Tracy, but you might be stuck just playing some Tyrone Tracy. So that's kind of how that is there for you, Justin. Andrea, have a great night. Everyone, have a great night. Appreciate you guys so much. Sell high on Cup if you can. Ask me that in a question if you have some trade ideas there, Mr. Magic. But like I said, Brian coming in with some last fire questions. I love all y'all. You said I'm being offered Bijan and Love for Amon-Ra and Stroud. Should I do it? I personally want, I want Bijan and Love side, so I would do that there, Brian. I would do it. So Anthony, of course, thanks for the advice. Yeah, appreciate all you guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like I said, answering all my questions on my video. So if you have any final start-sit questions, there to answer for you. Have a great night, guys, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.